the National Broadcasting Company presents Joel McCrea in Tales of the Texas Rangers. Tonight, transcribed from Hollywood, another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. Texas, more than 260,000 square miles. And 50 men who make up the most famous and oldest law enforcement body in North America. Now, from the files of the Texas Rangers come these stories based on fact. Only names, dates, and places are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record. Case for tonight, dead giveaway.
It is 1:30 a.m., December 4th, 1945. A single light glows in the living room of a farmhouse 4 miles from the town of Ashton in West Texas. Inside the house, a frantic young woman tries to place a telephone call.
Operator. Oh, please.
Operator.
Thank heaven. Operator, get me the sheriff, quickly.
Is that you, Mrs. Deneen?
Yes, hurry.
Oh, this is Mary Lou, Mrs. Deneen. I'm working nights now. Is something
Mary Lou,
wrong?
stop talking and get me the sheriff.
Oh, all right.
Oh, dear.
Sheriff Ross speaking.
Sheriff, this is Mrs. Deneen. You've got to come out to my house right away. Right away.
Now, take it easy, Mrs. Deneen. What seems to be wrong?
Somebody's prowling around outside, trying to get into the house.
Isn't your husband there?
No, he went to Abilene on business. Something woke me up, and I thought at first it was the baby. And then I heard a noise outside. Ah!
Mrs. Deneen, what is it?
Somebody came in.
I'll be right there.
Who are you? What do you want? Please! Ah!
It took Sheriff Ross less than 15 minutes to get to the Deneen farm. But Mrs. Deneen and her 4-month-old baby were dead when he arrived. The sheriff called for the assistance of the Texas Rangers. Ranger Jace Pearson was assigned.
Jace Pearson?
Yeah, Sheriff.
You got here right quick.
Yeah, I was over the next county when your call came through.
Well, I hope you got a little sleep, because you won't get much now. Better come in out of this cold.
How long ago did it happen?
About a half hour ago, 1:30. Mrs. Deneen called me, woke me up at home, said somebody was trying to bust in. Right in here, Jace.
Shot right through the chest, huh?
Yeah,
She leave the phone hanging off the hook like that?
reckon so. Whoever broke in, they broke in just before I hung up. Nothing's been touched, Jace.
I know. I had a time getting past your deputies down the main road.
Phone operator's been buzzing everybody. We don't want half the county barging in here messing things up, so I blocked them all.
Good. Where's the baby?
In there, the front bedroom. You can look if you want to, Jace. It's a little more than I can take twice.
How old?
Only 4 months, Jace. Little girl.
Where'd he break in?
Side door, I'll show you.
Where's the husband?
Abilene, on business. I called the chief of police there. He's going to check the hotels and notify him. Now, here's the door. It was wide open. That's how I got in to open the front door.
Lock doesn't seem to be broken. Must have been picked. Deneens keep much money around the house?
As little or as much as most folks, I guess. But I don't think any's missing. There's Miss Deneen's purse on the kitchen table.
Killer couldn't have missed that. You check it?
Yeah, about $40 in it. It hasn't been touched.
Motive wasn't robbery then, Sheriff.
No. There's no sign of any other motive. But there's got to be one, Jace.
Yeah. The toughest motive of all. Because it's the easiest hidden. Hate. The kind of hate the devil wouldn't hold. We went through the rest of the house, but we didn't find anything that would help us until we got outside.
It's cold tonight, Jace. Ground's frozen hard.
Yeah, if we find a trace, it won't be much. Keep your flash close to the ground.
All right. Why are you working back of the house here, away from the driveway?
Because I think the killer came in from this direction, probably on foot.
Why?
Why, you said Mrs. Deneen told you she woke up when she heard somebody prowling around outside.
Yeah?
A horse or a car coming up the gravel road around front would have made even more noise. Woke her up sooner.
Say, that's right. I heard your car coming from quite a ways off. That's why I was standing out in front to meet you when you drove up.
Wait a minute.
What is it, Jace?
Piece of baling wire. Bent in the shape of a key.
Well, that must about be what he used to get in.
Maybe. Or maybe that's what somebody wants us to think. Let's take another look at that door.
Yeah. What makes you think the wire was planted there, Jace?
I'll tell you better when we try it in the lock.
Well, it beats me why a killer'd leave something deliberately.
That's what makes me think something's wrong. This wouldn't have been dropped so close to the house. And grab the door and hold it up high. You don't want to mess up any prints around the lock.
You got it.
Now, let's see how this wire fits.
Yeah. Goes in perfect, Jace.
Yeah. Watch when I turn it.
Yeah. Hey, wire's just twisting.
And it'll keep on twisting. This wire isn't strong enough to turn the tumbler in the lock.
Then how did the killer get in, Jace?
If you ask me, Sheriff, I think he had a regular key. I put in a call for a fingerprint crew, and the sheriff called to have the bodies picked up for autopsy. Then we went outside and started trailing again. We found a few directional traces, but they petered out in the darkness.
Can't see anything at night on this ground, Jace.
Try cutting back and forth a little further.
Yeah, all right.
Man we're following was weaving, trying to throw us off.
It just makes it tougher to track.
He's got to be headed for someplace, some definite direction. We might as well establish which direction.
Yeah. Guess there's nothing much we can do except this until we have some daylight.
Save us an hour in the morning. Then we can track on horses without wasting time finding out which way to go. By sunup, we knew the killer's general direction had been west. The sheriff got his horse from town. I unloaded charcoal from the trailer, and we rode.
He kept heading west, all right. But there's nothing out this way for miles once he got into those hills up ahead.
Any kind of a road between here and the hills?
Yeah, old wagon road just beyond the scrub on the rise we're coming to.
Does it connect with a state road?
It does, but nobody uses it.
Maybe somebody did. Is it in good enough condition for a car to run through?
Reckon it is. You figure he had a car waiting for him?
Had to have a car or a horse staked out someplace. Come on. Let's make right for the road.
Yeah.
Wagon road lead to any other farm in the area?
Used to lead to the old Mullen place, but that's burned out.
Nobody living there anymore, huh?
No, old folks dead. Young Ted Mullen moved away a couple of years ago. Oh, here's the road. Boy.
Ooh, charcoal. Yeah. Headed pretty straight last tracks we saw. Must have reached the road right near here.
Yeah, we'll find some mark if he crossed it and kept going.
No, he didn't keep going. Look.
Tire track. Had a car staked out all right.
Turned the car around here to head back for the highway.
Could have been somebody else waiting in the car for him.
Maybe, but I don't think so. Look at the heel marks. Walked around to the driver's side of the car to get in.
Yeah.
And there's something else here, too. Dropped this cigarette butt and stepped on it.
Yeah. Sure didn't smoke much of it.
Didn't even burn down to the brand mark. Well, at least we know what brand he smokes.
About all we do know, Jace. There won't be anything to follow at the main road. He sure won't leave a trail there.
No. Mount up. Let's get back to the house. We rode back to Deneen's. As we came to the farm, we saw a couple of cars that hadn't been there when we left. Looks like company, Sheriff. The car next to mine belongs to our lab. The others must be the coroner's.
Oh, coroner ought to have been and gone by now. Nope, no, that isn't the coroner's car, Jace. Blue sedan, that belongs to Walter Deneen.
The husband?
Yeah, must have got back from Abilene. Yeah, it's Deneen, all right. There he is, sitting on the side porch.
Walter Deneen sat with his face buried in his hands until we dismounted and walked up to him. The lab crew was in the house looking for latent prints.
Howdy, Walter.
Oh. Howdy, Sheriff.
Walter, I can't tell you how...
Don't say anything, please. Ask me anything you like, but I don't want anybody else telling me how sorry they are.
You better let me talk to him, Sheriff.
Sure, Jace.
Mr. Deneen, it'd help us a lot to know one thing. You or your family have any enemies?
Enemies? Could there be an enemy as bad as this?
We know the house wasn't robbed. Have you ever had any trouble with anybody, no matter how small it seemed? Now's the time to remember it.
If there was anybody, I wouldn't tell you. I'd take care of it myself.
That's no way to be, Walter.
Don't go telling me how to act, Sheriff. You didn't come home to your house 10 minutes ago. You didn't find your wife and kid the way I found mine.
Mr. Deneen, why don't you try to get a little rest? We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, okay.
Anything I can do, Walter, just holler.
Yeah.
You been able to think of anybody who might have had it in for him?
Not a soul, Jace. Unless it was Ted Mullen.
The one you told me about? Family that was burned out?
Yeah. But, Jace, that was 5 years ago.
Sometimes hate doesn't die with age. What happened?
Well, old folks just got to brooding and died off after their house burned. Young Ted blamed Walter.
Why?
Windmill at the Mullen place was busted. They tried to borrow from Walter to get it fixed, but he turned them down. Ted said if the mill had been working, it would have pumped enough water for him to put the fire on.
Young Mullen the kind to hold a grudge?
Well, after 5 years, Jace. And he moved out a long time ago.
Where?
Who knows?
Come on. I'll call my headquarters by radio. Maybe they can get a line on Mullen.
All right.
If they find out where he is, it won't do any harm to check on where he was
I
last
reckon
night.
it won't hurt any. But I can't believe that a man after...
Hey, hold it, Sheriff.
Well, that's only Walter's car, Jace. What are you looking at?
The design of the tire tread. Look at him.
Oh, that may be.
It's the same design we saw in the dirt road where the killer picked up a car to make his getaway.
But, Jace, that was hard ground. Could barely see the tread. And tires like that are standard on lots of cars.
Yeah, I know. Just the same, I want to look this car over. Left his ignition keys in.
You going to start it?
No, just want to take a look at the dash. He said he got back from Abilene 10 minutes ago, didn't he?
That's what he said.
Take a look at that temperature gauge.
Let me see. Register's cold.
Yeah. Only it should be pretty warm if he finished a drive of a couple of 100 miles just 10 minutes ago.
Could have dropped back, Jace.
Not in 10 minutes, Sheriff. It's a cold morning, but not that cold.
Well,
I want to talk to Deneen again.
you see something else?
I sure do. Look at this on the frame of the door.
Service station lubrication sticker.
Yeah. Dated December 2nd, day before yesterday. 18,412 miles. The mileage on the dash shows he's driven less than 200 miles since then. He couldn't have been in Abilene.
Well, wait a minute, Jace. I admit that looks funny, but the man we were chasing, he ground out a cigarette, remember?
Well, what about it?
I've known Walter since he was a boy, Jace. He don't smoke.
Sheriff!
Oh, Mary Lou Simmons, phone operator. Who let you in, Mary Lou?
I told the deputy I put Mrs. Deneen's call through to you last night. He thought you might want to talk to me. Ain't it just awful?
You talk to her.
I was still on the line after you hung up, Sheriff. I heard it all, the shots and everything.
You hear any voice beside Mrs. Deneen?
No, I just heard her say, "Who are you? What do you want?" And then the shots. That was all.
You sure she said, "Who are you"?
Oh, cross my heart. I heard it as plain.
Guess you don't want to talk to Walter now, do you, Jace?
No, I guess not.
You are listening to Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. And now we continue with tonight's case, Dead Giveaway, an authentic story from the files of the Texas Rangers.
I didn't want to question Walter Deneen until I'd had a chance to check on his movements. The sheriff and I drove into town and called the Abilene police. The answer didn't fit.
Don't think there's any doubt about who he was, Ranger.
Okay, thanks. Thanks very much. Well, guess that does it, Sheriff.
Deneen was in Abilene, huh?
Uh-huh. Checked into the Harris Hotel yesterday about noon. Checked out again at 2:10 this morning, right after the police notified him of the murder.
Police could have spoken to anybody on the phone.
And they didn't tell him by phone. Police sergeant went up and told him direct.
Oh.
Description of Walter tallies, too. Yeah, but there's something that doesn't tally, though. Mileage on that car.
Could be something wrong with the speedometer cable. Happened in my car a few weeks back.
Maybe. And I'll be back sometime tomorrow.
Where you going, Jace?
Abilene. As soon as I hit the highway, I put in a shortwave call to headquarters, station KTXA. Unit 10 to KTXA.
KTXA. Go ahead, Unit 10.
This unit en route to Abilene. Request Abilene police secure names of all contacts made by subject Walter Deneen, registered Harris Hotel there yesterday.
Will do, Unit 10.
Unit 10 sent piece of wire back to lab for examination. Any report yet?
Not yet. Wire and fingerprints both under study. We'll keep you informed.
10-4, Unit 10, clear.
KTXA, Austin.
When I reached Abilene, I got a complete rundown on Walter Deneen's activities. It was too complete. Like he was making sure his time in the city would be accounted for. One of the people who'd seen him was his attorney.
Why, yes, Ranger. Mr. Deneen spent several hours with me yesterday afternoon. We had dinner together last night. Went to the theater.
What'd he come to see you about?
Well, some investments. He's been doing a little speculating cotton.
Good or bad?
Well, it's client business, and I don't think I have the right to discuss it.
I can find out by checking with the exchange. I'm just asking you to save time.
All right. His losses have been rather heavy.
More than he could afford?
Much more.
He carry much insurance on his wife and child?
A normal amount, nothing large.
All right, thanks. One more thing. Are you sure Deneen doesn't benefit financially by his wife's death?
Ranger, he couldn't have gotten back to Ashton by 1:30 last night after we'd been out.
That isn't what I asked.
Well, Mrs. Deneen had a good bit of money in her own right. In case of her death, though, she had it tied up in trust for the child.
But the child is dead, too. What happens now?
Well, in that case, the entire estate will probably go to Mr. Deneen.
I made one more stop before I headed back to Ashton. I paid a visit to the garage at the Hotel Harris.
I keep the location of all guest cars on this index rack so we'll know which stores they're in when they want them.
Was Walter Deneen's car in here yesterday?
Deneen, that's D-I-N, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
No, there's no record of it. Was he a guest at the hotel?
Yes. Is there any parking lot around here he might have used?
Not convenient to the hotel, and parking is free here for guests, so I don't think he'd use a lot.
Neither do I. Thanks. Before I left Abilene, I called my headquarters. They had a report. No strange prints had been found in Deneen's house. The wire key looked like a plant. I hung up and made another call to Sheriff Ross.
I'm beginning to wonder about Walter myself, Jace.
Why?
He's been kind of curious about where you are. I told him you went to Abilene, just to see if it'd draw him out.
Good. How'd he react?
Kind of nervous. Then he said something about flying up to Abilene and back. Of course, he never did say he drove it.
No, but he gave the impression that he drove.
Well, even so, he was there when the killing took place.
Yeah, but the killer had the use of Deneen's car. Can you get your hands on the car?
Well, it's over in back of the funeral parlor right now. That's where Deneen said he was going just a few minutes ago when he stopped by to ask about you.
Well, grab that car and check it for fingerprints. I'll be there as fast as I can roll.
Oh, howdy, Jay.
Car all worked over, Sheriff?
Yeah, ought to have reports on the prints soon. Send them to Austin.
Find any strangers?
Quite a few of one set that weren't Deneen's.
If they belong to a professional killer, there's a good chance he'll have a record. Where's Deneen?
My deputies are out looking for him.
Why? I thought he was at the funeral parlor.
So'd I, until I went in to look for him after we finished on the car. Undertaker said he'd left more than an hour ago by the front door.
Must have spotted you working over the car. Come on, let's find him.
Yeah. Not at the house, not any place in town. Where could he be if he hasn't run out?
Trying to cover up for a couple of mistakes? He won't run, not yet.
Why?
Because his alibi is airtight. We can shake it, but unless we find the killer he hired, we can't shake it enough. He took a big gamble, and he's got too much at stake to run off.
His wife's money?
How'd you know about that?
Just thinking back. Little late. Folks knew Mrs. Deneen's family left her well off. Walter married her not long after they passed on. A lot of people thought the money had something to do with it.
I wish you'd remembered that sooner.
Well, Jace, they seemed close. And then there's the baby.
Baby was just something extra that got in Deneen's way.
Oh.
Never gotten any of the money if...
KTXA to Unit 10.
Maybe a report on the prince.
Unit 10. Go ahead, KTXA.
Have a report on prints lifted from car at Ashton, Texas. One set identified as belonging to Joe Crofton.
Joe Crofton. Any line on his whereabouts?
Finished serving parole 4 months ago. Last address known to parole office was shack located western slope of Casket Mountain.
10-4. Unit 10, clear.
KTXA Austin.
Crofton must be the killer then, Jace.
I'll bet on it. How far to Casket Mountain?
About 20 miles, then turn south another 5. After that, well, we'll need horses if he's far up.
Should have brought your horse along the trailer with charcoal.
I can borrow one.
Crofton's going to be tough to take.
You sound like you know him.
I wrote the ticket for his last trip to Huntsville 6 years ago. That was murder, too, but he copped out with a manslaughter plea.
Better not take any chances, Jace. If he starts shooting, we'll have to toss it back dead center.
No. We got to take him alive. He'll talk to keep from burning once we get him.
Yeah, I see. If Walter Deneen paid him to do the job, he's the only one who can break Deneen's alibi.
That's right. So no matter what happens, we got to take him alive. Crofton's cabin was up, all right. Way up. The sheriff borrowed a horse from the man who directed us.
Quite a climb, Jace.
Well, not so bad following this wash, though.
Suppose he isn't there.
I got a hunch he will be. I don't think Deneen had enough money to pay for this killing. He was almost broke.
You mean he planned to pay off out of his wife's money when he got it?
Yeah.
Wonder how Walter arranged for him to get the car that night.
Not much to arrange. Left it near the airport with the keys in it. Crofton brought it back and left it in the same spot. Probably left the house key for him, too. Glove compartment, maybe.
Yeah. With the airport 40 miles from Ashton, nobody recognized the car or a strange driver. Come in at night, used an abandoned road.
Sheriff, look.
Huh? Hey, another horse left tracks in here, too.
Yeah. And they're fresh.
Ooh, boy. That must be Crofton's horse.
No. The rider was taking the rough way. Just cut into the wash here to find a better trail. Crofton lives up here. He'd know the best trail.
Who else would be coming up here?
Deneen, to shut him up. Come on.
Yeah, here, boy. Not too fast, Jace, or we'll spill.
You gotta risk it. Too slow, we'll be too late. We reached the shack and crept up on it. There was no horse around and no sign of life. Tried to draw fire by showing ourselves, but none came. We had to go in. All right. Hold your gun ready, Sheriff. And don't come in till I call you.
Right, Jace.
All right, Sheriff. Come in.
Nobody here, huh? Oh, wait a... Oh. That Crofton?
Yeah, that's him. Deneen got here first.
Jace, this fella looks like he shot himself. Gun's in his own hand. Now, what's his paper beside him? Let's see. Jace, he did kill himself. This note says so. Confesses the murders, too.
Sure it does. But Walter Deneen wrote that. And that note's gonna hang him.
How do you know? You ever seen Deneen's writing?
No, but I've seen Crofton's before. He signed his name with an X. Prison records show he's illiterate. Never could read or write. Come on, Sheriff.
Gonna put out a pickup for Deneen?
We'll pick him up ourselves. He can't be far off.
But if he'd headed back down the wash, we'd have passed him on our way up.
He must be going across the top of the mountain to go down the other side. Come on.
Yeah.
We raked our horses as fast as they could move. We spotted a rider ahead of us as he topped the slope. He heard us because he looked back, then whipped his mount and disappeared.
He knows we're on him.
Got about 300 yards. We'll get him. Keep pounding leather.
Yeah. We're coming to the top now.
Keep low in the saddle. Watch out for an ambush.
There he is.
Don't go down too fast, Sheriff. Your horse will tumble to the downgrade.
Deneen was pressing too hard, Jace. He fell. Look.
Yeah, he scrambled behind the rocks. Whoa, Charcoal. Come on, Sheriff.
Oh,
Hit the dirt. Let your horse go. Go on, Charcoal. Go on.
he's down under that rock shelf. Perfect cover.
Not too perfect. Bullets will ricochet back from that ledge behind him. See that dent in the ledge?
Yeah.
Draw your gun and we'll empty it on him. Hit right below the dent.
Aye.
All right. Let's hope for a billiard shot. Start firing.
I'm hit! Stop it! I'm bleeding!
Throw your gun out, Deneen.
All right! Don't shoot anymore! Here it is! Ow.
Okay, Sheriff. Let's take him.
I'm hit.
And I was sorry for you, Walter, up until a few hours ago.
You gotta get me to a doctor.
You're not hurt badly. We'll get you to a doctor. All I want to know is how you met Crofton.
Come on, Walter, talk up.
I saw his picture in the paper when he got out of jail. I made a deal with him a couple of months ago.
Yeah. A deal to wipe out your own wife and kid.
Oh.
Must be great to be as brave as you are. Get up, Deneen. You got a long way to go.
Walter Deneen confessed and made a plea for clemency. It was not granted. And on the 11th day of October, 1947, he died in the electric chair at Huntsville.
And now, here again is the star of our show, Joel McCrea, with another interesting anecdote about the Texas Rangers.
When the Allies invaded Normandy in World War II, they got an idea as to how far the fame of the Texas Rangers had spread. Both surrendering Nazis and liberated Free French said they knew the war was as good as over because the Texas Rangers had landed. Of course, it was the heroic American Ranger troops who made the landings. But nothing could convince the Nazi war prisoners that these were not the terrible Texans they'd heard about in many American legends. Good night, folks. See you same time next week.
Next week, Joel McCrea in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Joel McCrea is currently seen starring in the Universal International Technicolor production Saddle Tramp. Tonight's cast included Tony Barrett, Lorene Tuttle, Mike Barrett, Hal March, and Paul Frees. This story was transcribed and adapted by Joel Murcott, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. This is Hal Gibney speaking.
3 chimes mean good times on NBC. Monday means music, fine music on NBC. Listen tomorrow for these great musical programs, the NBC Symphony and the Band of America. Be sure to listen Monday as Milton Katims conducts the NBC Symphony Orchestra in a full-hour concert of the finest music on the air. And listen, too, for Paul Laval conducting the Band of America every Monday on NBC.
Bill Harris reminding you that next it's Theater Guild on NBC.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Joel McCrea in Tales of the Texas Rangers. Tonight, transcribed from Hollywood, another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. Texas, more than 260,000 square miles. And 50 men who make up the most famous and oldest law enforcement body in North America. Now, from the files of the Texas Rangers come these stories based on fact. Only names, dates, and places are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record. Case for tonight, Soft Touch.
It is 11 a.m. on a Sunday in August 1949. A blue sedan comes to a stop in front of a ranch house 30 miles from the town of Salt Flats, Texas.
Come on, kids. This is Grandma's house.
Shh, Bill. Let them sleep. We started so early, they're tired.
Well, we can't leave them in the car.
If we wake them up now, they'll never finish their naps. We'll bring them in a few minutes.
Okay. Getting up at 4 a.m. was kind of early, even for them, huh? Hey, look. Pa's painted the windmill.
Oh, Bill, I love this place. I wish we didn't live so far away.
Yeah.
We don't get here often enough.
Hey, wonder where the folks are. They usually stand in the middle of the road waiting for us when they know we're bringing the kids for a visit.
The door's open. Your mother's probably in the kitchen cooking enough food for a dozen.
Yeah. Don't smell anything cooking. Ma? Pa? You home?
Maybe they're still at church, Bill.
No, they're always back by 10 o'clock. The garage door was closed, too. Pa always leaves it open when he's got the car out.
Oh, then they must be in back someplace.
Yeah. Hey, Ma? Pa, where are you?
I've never known your mother to be any place but in the kitchen, Bill.
Yeah, but she doesn't hear so well anymore. Let's take a look.
All right.
Ma? Nobody here, Judy.
Bill, what's that spilled on the floor at the door to the pantry?
Huh? Hey, Judy, it looks like blood.
Oh, Bill.
Ma! Pa! Oh, good Lord. Mom, it's dead.
Oh, Bill, honey, come away. Come away.
The brutal murder of the rancher and his wife was reported. Texas Ranger Jace Pearson was notified by shortwave radio. He reached the ranch house less than 1 hour after the bodies were discovered.
I'm sorry to have to ask questions at a time like this, Mr. Ross.
It's all right. My kids are asleep in the car, though. Mind if my wife takes them into town?
I won't leave you here, Bill.
Please, honey, I'll be all right. I don't want the kids to come in here or even know about this.
Might be best, ma'am.
I'll meet you at the hotel later.
All right, honey.
Better tell me anything you know, Mr. Ross.
Yeah. Well, we drove out from Fort Worth this morning. That's my home now. I'm a commercial artist. This is the first time we've been here in 5 months.
Hello, Sheriff.
Howdy, Ranger. Your wife told us to come right in, Bill. I sure am sorry.
Yeah, it's...
Might have known something was wrong when I didn't see your folks at services this morning. They never did miss.
You better go on with what you were telling me, Mr. Ross.
With nothing else to tell. Judy noticed the blood in the kitchen by the pantry door.
Okay. Better take a look at him, Sheriff.
All right.
Just one thing more, Mr. Ross. Your parents have any enemies you know of?
No.
Jed and Martha Ross never made an enemy in their whole lives, Ranger.
Say, You don't want me to go in there with you, do you?
No, it won't be necessary. Just take it easy.
Kitchen's here. They took a pretty cruel beating, Ranger.
Yeah. No sign of a weapon, though. Here, help me move the old man's body a little, will you?
Get easy here. Here.
A lot of heavy welts, but beaten to death and then put in here. Blood comes mostly from hemorrhaging, though, not so much from cuts.
You'd think a weapon would have cut him up more than that. Unless it was wrapped in something.
Only one other thing I can think of. Bare fists.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's this?
Let me see. Well, just a little hunk of paper.
Yeah, crumpled, too. Piece of a larger sheet. Rest of it must have been torn away. It feels like a good grade of letterhead paper.
Mean anything to you?
Well, if we find the rest of the paper this came from, no. But if we don't, it could mean plenty.
Like what?
And the way this is crumpled might have been part of something the old man was hanging on to, and somebody tried to get it away from him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to send this into our lab at Austin.
Looks like this happened sometime last night.
That's something we'll know when we get an autopsy report. Called to have the bodies and the piece of paper picked up. Then we checked around the outside of the house. The gravel road wouldn't hold a car track. But behind the house, we found marks where a horse had been tied. I got charcoal out of the trailer, and the sheriff got a horse from the ranch barn.
You went right toward the southeast quarter. Ross has 200 acres and cotton down there.
Yeah, I see it.
Might have ridden over there yesterday on one of his own horses.
No. Horse that made this trail wasn't one of Ross's. Pony we're following has a spread hoof. Whoa. Look. See the marks? Bar across the frog on the right forefoot.
Yeah. Wondered why you were checking the shoes on the horses back there in the barn.
Yeah, that's why. Oh, boy. Who owns the adjoining place? Other side of the cotton.
Big Chuck Whitaker.
Now, let's get moving. I want to have a talk with this Big Chuck Whitaker. Come on, Chuck.
Here, boy.
Yeah, I was over there yesterday afternoon, but I didn't kill nobody.
Well, that's very interesting, Mr. Whitaker, because we didn't tell you anything about anybody being killed.
I know you didn't, Ranger. My phone happens to be on the same party line as the Ross Ranch. I heard their son Bill call when he found him this morning.
You make a habit of listening in?
I had a call to make. I picked up the phone I heard. Couldn't help it. Now, if you're through asking questions, I'd like to go back to mending this harness.
That can wait, Chuck.
You're not exactly broken up about losing your neighbors.
Ranger, I got troubles enough of my own.
Why did you go to Ross's yesterday? And what time were you there?
In the evening, just before sundown. Ross was fixing to have some crop dusting done again. I wanted to talk to him about it.
About doing the job for him?
No, Ranger, the crop dusting plane comes down from Salt Flats.
Oh. Well, go ahead, Whitaker.
Yeah, the last time Ross dusted a spray he carried over on my place. Some of my cattle watered down near that cotton. Made them sick.
Yeah, Ross say he'd watch out for it?
Yeah.
And that was all?
That was all. And I come home.
All right, Whitaker. Come on, Sheriff.
Hold on, Chuck.
Yeah.
Easy, boy. Here.
Hey, wait a minute.
Whoa, Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck?
Yeah, I just thought of something. When I left Ross's place just before dark, a car drove up as I came around the house.
Who was in it?
Man, that's all I know.
You didn't see his face?
No. Only thing that makes me think of it was something I noticed. Car wasn't from around here.
Oh, how do you know?
Well, they had one of them fancy frames around the license plate. You know the things I mean. That got the name of the town stamped on it.
Did you notice the stamp?
Yeah. Car was from San Antone.
San Antone, huh? Thanks.
Yeah.
Let's go, Sheriff. Get up, Chuck.
Hip. Good thing he noticed that car and remembered it. Might be a big help.
Yeah. Might be a big lie, too. That man's hard.
He just acts hard, Ranger. Kind of sour since his wife ran off with one of his cowhands a few years back. But he don't need no harm.
Maybe not.
He makes a bad impression. He's liable to send more flowers to Ross' funeral than most anybody around.
I've known killers to do that before, too. We checked other ranchers in the area, but we didn't get any information until next morning at the sheriff's office.
Morning, Jace. Heard anything from your headquarters yet?
No, waiting for him to call me now. And what's that, the autopsy report?
Yeah. Medical examiner seems to agree with your idea. Death might have been caused by a beating with fists.
Pretty thorough job of beating. You read this?
Yeah.
Old woman died of a broken neck. Struck right at the base of the brain. Rabbit punch.
Yeah. Old man Ross hemorrhaged to death, like you said.
Broken jaw, broken nose, ribs smashed in under the heart. Vessels ruptured from being beaten on the kidneys and in the solar plexus.
I'd like to get my hands on anybody who'd do that.
If you did get your hands on him, you'd have your hands full. Whoever did it was big, and he could hit. Plenty hard and in just the right spots.
You still got Chuck Whitaker on your mind?
Only because he fits the bill in a few ways.
Never hurt nobody before.
No, but he's a bitter man. That kind can...
Excuse me. Hello? Yes, he's here. Yeah. For you, Jace. Captain Stinson calling long distance.
Thanks. Hello, Cap.
Hello, Jace. Just got a report on the scrap of paper you sent in. Special type. The paper stock indicates the original sheet was a letterhead printed in the government printing office at Washington.
You know which bureau?
No, but we're checking.
Try and find out if any department there has had any correspondence with Jed Ross recently.
That's what we're doing. But don't expect anything in a hurry.
I won't.
Bye, Jace.
Bye, Captain.
You find out where the paper come from?
Yeah, some government office in Washington. You been checking on that car from San Antone?
One Whitaker told us about? Yeah. Nobody I found saw it. How about you?
Nobody. Seems like the only one did see it was Chuck Whitaker.
I hate to admit it, Jace, but it's beginning to look that way.
Let's get our horses. I want to see Whitaker again.
When you've known a man all your life, you hate to think he's a murderer. On the other hand, you hate to see a neighbor get killed, too.
If Whitaker's telling the truth, he's got nothing to worry about.
I feel mighty sorry for young Bill Ross. He was all busted up at the funeral parlor. Tough for him to take it alone, but he made his wife and kids go back to Fort Worth.
He the only child?
Bill? Yeah. Only one living, that is. Had a sister, Joan. Nice a girl as you'd ever see.
What happened to her?
She was a Navy nurse. Got killed at the Solomon Islands during the war. Ross has sure had that sheriff trouble, all right.
Kind of trouble somebody ought to pay for.
Hey, look. There's Whitaker now on a pony coming toward us. Just rode out of the gully.
Yeah. Get up, Charlie.
Up, boy. Oh,
boy. You're coming back to see me, huh?
That's right, Whitaker.
You think I've been lying to you, don't you, Ranger?
Now, take it easy, Chuck.
Get one thing straight, Whitaker. I got nothing against you or any man, not personally. But I do intend to find the man who killed your neighbors.
Well, then you can stop looking around my place. Sheriff, I rode out to meet you because your office called. You both wanted back in town.
Why?
Because I ain't blind and I ain't lying. One of the sheriff's deputies has found somebody else who saw that car from San Antone.
You are listening to Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. And now we continue with tonight's case, Soft Touch.
We went back to town and from there to a roadside cafe about 15 miles out the state highway.
Yeah, I sure did see the car, like I told the deputy. It had that thingamajig on the license plate. Noticed it when I give him some gas.
Are you sure it was on Saturday, huh?
It sure was. About 5 o'clock, I'd say.
I guess there's not much traffic from San Antone comes through here, does it, Sheriff?
Nope, we're off the main U.S. highways. Anybody coming down here on a state road would have to have some business around here someplace.
You remember the man in the car?
No, I sure do. After I give him the gas, he come in for some coffee.
Can you describe him?
Oh, well, 3 days ago, but he's better than 6 feet, maybe 200 pounds. Then, of course, there was his face.
What was wrong with it?
Well, Sheriff, his face looked like he'd tried to bulldog a steer on rocky ground and lost. It sure was scarred up.
He bleeding any place?
Oh, no, Ranger. I didn't mean fresh scarred. I reckon he's looked that way for a long time.
And when he left here, he drive on toward Salt Flats?
He sure did. Wasn't nobody else in here when he stopped or when he left, so I didn't have nothing much to do, and I was watching when he drove off.
He was going in the direction of the Ross Ranch, all right?
Yeah. But who was he?
That's what I'm going to find out, if I can. Bill Ross said he's a commercial artist, didn't he?
Yeah, why?
Because I want to bring him out here, get a detailed description of that face, and see if Ross can draw something that comes close to it. We sent for Bill Ross, but before he joined us at the sheriff's office, something else turned up. A long-distance call from Captain Stinson.
We found out what that letter from Washington might have been, Jace.
Good, Captain. Let's have it.
Well, it might have been from the Veterans Administration. Answer to a letter Jed Ross wrote asking if they had any record of a United States Marine named Herbert Walsh.
What else?
Well, for some reason, Ross wanted to know if there really had been a Herbert Walsh in the Corps, and especially if he'd been wounded and hospitalized in the Solomon Islands. The piece of paper you sent in might have come from the answer the Vets Administration sent to Ross.
What was the answer?
There's no record of a Herbert Walsh, Jace. Does it fit anything?
I don't know, Captain. But the Rosses lost a daughter in the Solomons, a Navy nurse. Oh, Bill Ross just came in with the sheriff. I'll get on it. Bye.
Bye, Jace.
Ross, does the name Herbert Walsh ring a bell with you?
Yes. Yes, Ranger, it does. My father told me about him in a letter 2 months ago.
You know who he is?
No, I never saw him. Folks wrote that he stopped by the ranch and told him my sister had taken care of him in the Solomons before she got killed.
Is that all?
No. According to my father's letter, Walsh gave my folks the idea that he and my sister had been very close.
Had your sister ever mentioned him in letters to your folks when she was overseas?
Well, they couldn't remember, but we were awful fond of my kid sister, Ranger. Anybody who'd known her would have found an open door with my folks.
Somebody found one, all right. 2 open.
What do you mean?
There isn't any Herbert Walsh.
What? But my pa gave him some money.
When? Did he write to you about that?
No, but I've just been going over my father's affairs. In the past 2 months, he loaned Walsh several $100s. I have the canceled checks.
Where are the checks?
At the lawyer's office on the corner.
I want to see where those checks were cashed. Come on.
Jace, you figure this Walsh is a phony working the old war buddy racket?
Of course he is, but with a new angle, a dead girl.
What do you mean?
I mean that families of servicemen and women open their hearts too easily to strangers they think might have been close to somebody they loved.
You mean Walsh killed my family?
Your father must have suspected him. He wrote to Washington and found out Walsh had never been in the Solomons or the Marines. And when Walsh came the last time, your father called his hand with a letter he'd gotten from the VA.
Here's the building where the lawyer is.
Here are the checks, Ranger. 4 of them, total of $600.
Endorsed by Walsh. Cashed for him by merchants in San Antone.
That car came from San Antone, Jace. That sure fits.
It sure does. Let's get out to that cafe and get that sketch drawn up.
No, it weren't quite like that around the eyes. There was marks around the eyebrows.
She means scar tissue.
Oh. See, eyes deeper set then. Like this?
Oh. Yeah, sure were. The nose didn't come out so far. Had a kind of a dent in the middle.
Here. Like that?
Hey, that's fine. That's real good.
If somebody knew the man, would they recognize him from that?
They sure would. That's almost a spitting image, I'd say.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
You're sure welcome.
I'll take that, Bill. Thanks again.
Come back.
Well, he ain't the prettiest fellow I ever saw.
I don't know. My folks said that, too. But Walsh told him he'd been in a Jap prison camp, been treated bad.
Walsh was lying, if Walsh is his real name.
Must have got beat up someplace, Jace.
Yeah, and I've got a hunch I know where.
What do you think?
In a prize ring. The man who killed your folks was a professional fighter.
You figuring that just because of his face?
And one other thing. Don't forget that autopsy report, Sheriff.
That's right. Well, you remarked right then that the fellow who threw those punches knew what he was doing.
I'd sure like to get my hands on him. Two old people and getting at him through my kid sister.
Don't think about your own revenge. The law will take care of that.
Yeah. But no law can bring them back to life.
I'll drop you at the office, Bill. You and the sheriff. I'll be in touch with you later.
Where are you going, Jace?
Out of your territory. San Antone.
All right, come on, Chris. Throw that 1-2 faster. Faster. Come on, roll with it. That's it.
Oh, now let me see, Ranger. Well, I've seen that face before, sure. Yeah. Well, been some time, but he used to train here, all right. Heavyweight. Wait a minute. Hey, Pop, come here.
Oh, come here, Mike.
Pop is the world's oldest fight fan, knows every fighter in his record for the past 50 years. Maybe he can tell you something.
Yeah. You know, what can I do for you?
You know a man who looks like this?
Yeah, I've seen him before.
His name Walsh?
Walsh, nothing. That's Eddie Pola. I never did amount to anything. Had a punch like a bull ox, but no science. Wide open for a left hook. Had 31 fights and ended up...
fine, Pop. Hold on. Range, you don't care about all that.
The main thing I want to know is, when did you see him last?
Oh, 6-7 years ago.
That long ago?
Oh, ain't long enough to suit me. Pola never should have been allowed in the ring. He wasn't the kind of fighter that loved the sport. He liked to hit men to ruin them, that's what.
And you have no idea where I might find him?
Well...
Not me, Pop.
No.
Well, thanks for your help.
Yeah, you're welcome, stranger.
Well, sure, glad to help, Ranger.
Hey, wait a minute, Ranger.
Yeah?
I just remembered. There was a gal Pola used to hang out with. Name was, Dolly Richards. She might know where he is.
Well, you know where I might find her?
Well, she used to work in the box office of the Empire Theater. That's all I know.
Thanks. I'll try it.
You planning to arrest Eddie Pola?
That's my plan, all right. Why?
Well, don't surprise me none, you understand, but let me give you some advice.
Go ahead.
Watch yourself in the clinches if you find him, Ranger. He's tougher than 9 miles on paved road. He's bad medicine. And he won't be fighting by the rule books if he knows you want him.
Thanks, Pop. I'll be careful.
Yeah, being careful ain't enough. Get off first. Remember, he's a sucker for a left hook. If he gets a chance to hit you good, he won't stop till he kills you.
I checked the Empire Theater for Pola's girl, Dolly Richards, but she hadn't been seen for years. I put through a call to headquarters asking them to check auto registration for one in Pola's name. It was late afternoon when Captain Stinson got back to me by phone.
The car he was using must have been stolen, Jace. There's nothing registered in that name.
You checking for a criminal record on him?
Yeah, but there's nothing in this state. We're checking with other states, though. I just sent teletypes off.
I'll have to wait a while then.
Nothing else you can do, Jace. So long.
Hey, wait a minute, Captain.
What?
Take one more crack at the License Bureau in Austin. See if they have a car registered to Dolly Richards.
Dolly Richards? Well, who's she, Jace? Pola's girlfriend?
She was. Let's hope the torch is still burning. I didn't move from the phone until the captain called back. This time he had something.
Here it is, Jace. Car registered to Dolly Richards. Texas license T49753. Her address is RFD number 4 on Farm Highway 73. It's a turnoff north of Tilden.
Well, that doesn't sound right to me, Captain. Car I want had San Antone marked on the license plate frame.
That's still all right, Jace. Dolly Richards bought the car 6 months ago from a San Antone dealer. Frame might have been on there.
That's better. Any out-of-state record on Pola?
Not yet. You want to wait another hour or so?
No. You can give me word by short wave. I'm heading toward Tilden.
KTXA to Unit 10.
Unit 10. Go ahead, KTXA.
Report on subject Eddie Pola. Served 3 years Leavenworth, impersonating Army officer and using mails to defraud. 1 year Oklahoma State Penitentiary for fraud. 1 year Louisiana assault.
10-4, Unit 10, clear.
KDXA Austin.
I took the turnoff north of Tilden, headed for the sprawling country ribboned by Farm Highway 73. It was midnight when my headlights picked out the mailbox and the name D. Richard. I left the car on the road and slipped up to the house. It was dark. I knocked.
All right, Eddie, all right. Don't blow your top. What a tired kitty.
Pola isn't home, huh?
Pola? I don't know anybody with that name.
You can save the static, lady. Where was he last Saturday night?
He was right here with me.
During the late afternoon and evening?
You heard her, Ranger.
Oh, Eddie, I didn't know you was in. He knocked, and I thought you'd forgot your key.
All right, Dolly, shut up. Like we said, Ranger, I was here last Saturday.
I know somebody who says you weren't. Described you well enough for this to be drawn. Good likeness, too, Pola.
I was here. What are you going to prove with the drawing?
I'm not going to prove anything with the drawing. But I'm going to have an eyewitness prove that you were near Salt Flat Saturday when Jed and Martha Ross were murdered.
Murdered?
Shut up, Dolly.
Forget to tell her about that part of it, eh, Pola? Maybe you forgot to tell her about the checks to Herbert Walsh, the Marine the VA never heard of. Where's that letter you ripped out of the old man's hand?
All right, Ranger, I'll show you. Come in. Yeah, it's over here, and...
The old boy at San Antone Jim told me you were open for a left hook, Pola. Now, don't try that again. Get on your feet and turn around. You too, miss.
Why me?
So I can cuff you together.
What are you taking me for?
For harboring a murderer. And to give you a chance to decide whether you want to stick to your story or tell the truth. All right, move.
Dolly Richards turned state's evidence against Eddie Pola. Pola was tried, convicted, and sentenced to death in the electric chair.
And now here again is the star of our show, Joel McCrea.
Many years ago, a group of Texas Rangers had a showdown battle with a notorious band of killers. Several days later, the Rangers assigned to the case staggered back to their headquarters, showing the marks of combat, many of them badly wounded. The captain of the company, too impatient to wait for a written report, went to the barracks where the men were cleaning up and tending to their wounds. What happened, the captain asked. There was silence for a moment as the Rangers looked up at him. Finally, one of them said, "Oh, nothing much, Cap. We had a little shooting match, and they lost. Good night, folks. See you again same time next week."
Next week, Joel McCrea in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Joel McCrea is currently seen starring in the Universal International Technicolor production Saddle Tramp. Tonight's cast included Tony Barrett, Paul Frees, Mike Barrett, Tom Tully, Bill Johnstone, Byron Kane, and Virginia Gregg. This story was transcribed and adapted by Joel Murcott, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. This is Hal Gibney speaking.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. The chimes are really excited about a big show. In fact, it's the big show. An hour and a half every Sunday with Tallulah Bankhead as Fem C, and starring Jimmy Durante, Fred Allen, Jack Carson, Groucho Marx, Jose Ferrer, Meredith Wilson, and many, many more. All this and Tallulah, too. No wonder it's the big show. The premiere date is Sunday, November 5th, just 1 week from today.
Phil Harris reminding you that next it's Theater Guild on NBC.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Joel McCrea in Tales of the Texas Rangers. Tonight, transcribed from Hollywood, another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. Texas, more than 260,000 square miles. And 50 men who make up the most famous and oldest law enforcement body in North America. Now, from the files of the Texas Rangers come these stories based on fact. Only names, dates, and places are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record. Case for tonight, the White Suit.
It is 6 a.m., June 23rd, 1947. There is only one prisoner in the Live Oak County Jail. He is John Elliott Bascom, a notorious and dangerous gunman. In the anteroom connecting the jail with the sheriff's office, Deputy George Keaton dozes, snoring at the end of a long and uneventful night's duty.
Miss George? Miss George?
Oh, hello, Uncle Ben. You still here?
Yes, sir. Yeah, but that prosecutor's office down the hall was powerful dirty. About ready to go along home now as soon as I hang up my mouth, but I brewed this here coffee for you.
Coffee? Put it here.
She's hot, sure enough.
Coffee. Uncle Ben, you're an angel.
Don't know about that, Miss George. Ain't nobody else feed my wings. Just put the pot and cup in my closet when you're through. I'll take care of them when I come on tonight.
Sure thank you, Uncle Ben.
Yeah, sir.
Hey, what? Hey, jailer!
What's the matter with you now, Bascom?
Take a look. The cell floor is wet. Water's running all over. This jail may have all the comforts of home, but I wouldn't give you much for your blood.
Yeah, this building's so old, it's a wonder it doesn't all come apart. Valve must have stuck it in.
Water all over the floor.
All right, I'll take it easy.
What a crummy joint.
You keep back, Bascom.
Don't worry. You can do the wading. I'm not putting my feet down in that water.
Stay there in your bunk. I'll see what's the matter. Let's see what's wrong with it. Why, your undershirt's stuffed in the drain.
Yeah.
Miss George! Oh, Lordy, Bascom!
Get away from that gun cabinet.
Sheriff Chris Olson discovered the bodies of his night deputy and the courthouse janitor when he came into his office at 8 o'clock. He immediately telephoned the Texas Rangers, and a short time later, Ranger Jace Pearson arrived.
Jace Pearson, am I glad to see you?
It's been quite a while, Sheriff.
Jace, this is a bad thing.
Anything involving Bascom is. You got any line on him yet?
No, apparently he slipped out of town afoot. We don't even know what direction he took.
Probably east up Rocky Valley. That's the quickest way into open country. Ranger Harris was ordered out on this assignment with me.
Oh, where is he?
I dropped him with a walkie-talkie at 2 Mile Bridge on the way in. He's riding through the brush now, cutting for a trail. We ought to find out pretty soon if Bascom's still afoot.
And if he isn't?
Well, the highway patrol's already closed the main roads into this area. As soon as we get a localization, mounted units will move in and attempt to close the gaps. We'll get him, Sheriff.
Well, I sure hope so. Oh, excuse me. Sheriff's office, Olson speaking.
Sheriff, this is Bob McDougal out on Route 7. A man just stole my truck out of the field where I was working.
You got a description?
I didn't get a very good look at him. He was clear across the field. A medium-sized fellow wearing a pair of white coveralls, headed toward Prado.
What kind of truck?
A red half-ton pickup, 46 model.
Anything else to identify it?
Well, it's kind of beat up. A grill's broken out in front.
I think that's enough for us, McDougal.
You know who it was?
I think so. But you better get in as soon as you can and file a theft report, just the same. Farmer's truck was stolen about 8 miles out of Route 7. It's Bascom, all right, Jace. White coveralls.
Yeah, those jail suits sure show up. Come on, my unit's out front. We'll get this on the radio as we roll. Racing out of town on Route 7 with my double horse trailer still coupled, I radioed all units to be on the lookout for the truck. Then I contacted Ranger Harris through his walkie-talkie and asked him to meet us at 2 Mile Bridge. He was there when we arrived. Nice timing, Ed.
What's up, Jace?
Got a line on Bascom. Let's get your horse loaded in with charcoal.
Okay, Bascom still afoot?
No. He grabbed himself a truck about 8 miles down the road.
Yeah, he would. This side's clear, Jace.
All right, watch your toes. Yeah, charcoal, you got company.
In you go, boy.
Yeah, better bring the walkie-talkie up front with you, Ed.
Got it. Ready? Heave!
All snug. Come on. Sheriff Olson, meet Ranger Harris.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Howdy, Ranger. So, that's your walkie-talkie, is it? I don't know how much to it.
Yeah, pretty compact, all right. Hangs right on the saddle.
You can keep in touch with your headquarters with him?
At Austin? No. Practical range about 5 miles. Closer the better. Strictly a field outfit.
Oh, I see.
All set? Maybe we can drive Mr. Bascom right into the roadblock at Dry Creek Crossroads.
Well, sounds like you just made it.
Yeah.
What's the matter, out of gas?
Yeah, fill her up.
Premium or regular?
Anything, fill her up.
You betcha. Say, isn't this old Bob McDougal's truck?
Yeah, I'm taking it into Prado.
Thought he got all his repair work done at Live Oak.
Not this time. Hurry it up, will you?
He's trying to bubble over on me. Filler pipe must be bent. Old Mac sure beats up a truck, don't he?
Yeah.
Best farmer in the county, but awful careless about machinery. Seems
Come
like
on, wind it up. That's enough gas.
Okay, Mr. Okay. You must be in a hurry.
I am.
You're gonna lose some time at Dry Creek.
Yeah? Why?
The law's got a roadblock at the crossroads for some reason or another, combing everybody through down to the seams of their drawers. 5 2/10. That's 131.
Charge it.
Hey. All right, you smart mechanic. Let's see how far that gas gets you.
Radio operator.
This is Jim Perry. Get me the Dry Creek store, quick.
I'm sorry, that line's busy.
Break in on it. The highway patrol's got a roadblock there. I want to talk to one of the officers.
Is this an emergency call?
A smart aleck in Bob McDougal's truck just clipped me for some gas. He was in too big a hurry, to be honest, and he deliberately took the wrong turn when I told him there were officers ahead.
Mr. McDougal's truck, you said, a red one?
Sure, everybody knows that truck. A red pickup with a mechanic in white coveralls driving it.
You're out on Route 7. What turn did the truck take?
The crazy fool took off down the old Big Wash Road. Tell the patrol they can box him in there. The road ends at the wash.
Keep a watch on that road, Mr. Perry. That's the man they're looking for.
What?
It's Jack Bascom. He broke jail and killed 2 men at the county seat this morning.
Jack Bascom?
I can ring Dry Creek now.
KTXA to Unit 10. KTXA to Unit 10.
Unit 10 to KTXA. Go ahead, KTXA.
Subject Jack Bascom refused to pay for gasoline. He turned south from Route 7 at Perry's filling station, your vicinity.
That's Perry's down there at the foot of the hill.
10-4. Unit 10 approaching Perry's now. We'll keep KTXA advised. Unit 10 clear.
10-4, KTXA Austin.
That's Jim Perry out in front, flagging us down now.
Officers, I just got held up.
Yeah, we know. For some gasoline.
You know?
The radio, Jim. That's the turn he took over there?
Yeah, the Big Wash Road.
How long ago?
Maybe 10 minutes.
Pretty good start on us, Jace.
Yeah. For the kind of country there is down here. Let's don't let him get any more.
pickup abandoned in the sandy bed of Big Wash 4 miles from the highway and radioed the surrounding units. John Bascom's tracks led straight into broken country beyond the wash. He couldn't go any further in the truck, and neither can we. Looks like work for the horses from here on, Ed. Let's get them out.
Right. I'll give you a hand, Jace.
Easy, boy, easy.
Come on, Charco. Better get the walkie-talkie, Ed. We ought to be able to contact any unit south of Dry Creek with it pretty soon.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Hey, you boys leaving me afoot, Jace?
You can take the unit back, Sheriff. Maybe join the highway patrol at Dry Creek. Bascom's headed southwest. He probably figures to slip past the roadblocks.
He might be making a wide detour over toward Highway 11.
Might be.
All set, Jace.
Okay.
Anything else I can do?
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed.
I will. Trailing Bascom isn't going to be any cinch for you boys. He's desperate, armed, and he knows his trail's rich.
I know. Easy, boy. For good measure, I don't like the looks of those clouds over there. But all we need is a storm to wipe out what little sign he may leave. Well, let's get started, Ed.
Yeah. So long, boys. Good hunting.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Come on,
You are listening to Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McRae as Ranger Jace Pearson. And now we continue with tonight's case, The White Suit, an authentic story from the files of the Texas Rangers.
4 o'clock, Ed Harris and I were deep into the rough country south of Big Wash. We'd continually cut back and forth for Bascom's tracks, finding them and then losing them again. It was slow work, covering 5 miles to his 1, while he steadily built up his lead on us. He was infernally clever.
Take it easy going down here, Jace. If this canyon wall was any steeper, we'd be hanging by our collars.
Ooh, charcoal. Hey, wait a minute, Ed. Pull up.
Whoa, boy. Whoa now. Whoa. Now what, Jace?
Bascom didn't slide down here like we thought.
No?
Look. There's the rock he pushed over from the rim to make the skid marks we've been following. See, it's lava, like the cap on the rim. Different from the rest of the rock down here.
So we've got to climb back to the top. I'd have sworn he started down here to cross this canyon.
That's what he wanted us to think. Anything to cost us time. The trouble is we got to follow out every one of these blind trails he's leaving us. Any one of them may be the McCoy.
Yeah, he'll be to California before we ever get out of these badlands.
He isn't to California yet. Don't worry. He's working as hard as we are. Up, Charlie. Lift him up.
Come on, Red Horse. Make like a goat. Come on.
Watch it, Ed.
What a climb. It's getting late. Look at that sun, Jace.
Yeah. Hey, that low sun has got its advantages.
Whoa, boy. Whoa, now. Easy.
Take a look at that slope over there across the canyon. That patch of sand past that big mesquite.
Yeah, tracks, footprints. Then Bascom did cross the canyon after all.
Probably someplace a little downstream.
Jace, how come we didn't see those tracks when we started down here from up before? He couldn't have made them since then. We aren't that close behind him.
No, the tracks were there before. We just didn't see them. Now the sun's low enough to throw longer shadows into the prints his boots made. Makes them twice as visible.
Yeah? Well, we better start looking for a place to cross ourselves.
Now, let's climb a little higher first. I'm worried about that storm the way it's piling up.
Up, Red Horse. Come on. These clouds are getting black, Jace.
Probably loaded with static. We better try to make radio contact with the walkie-talkie while we can. We'll need to work from this high ground to get through.
General call, Jace?
Yeah. Suppose you try it now, Ed.
Yeah. Unit 902 to unit in range. Unit 902 to unit in range.
Unit 8 to Unit 902. Go ahead, Unit 902.
Whoa, boy, whoa. Here you are, Jace.
Whoa, Charco.
Unit 8 to Unit 902. Go ahead.
Unit 902 requests the location of Unit 8.
Unit 8 is at the intersection of County 5 and State 11, 10 miles south of Dry Creek.
10-4. Unit 8 is now too far north. Fugitive still bearing toward Highway 11, approximately 12 miles south and east of Dry Creek. Suggest Unit 8 move south about 5 miles.
Unit 8, 10-4.
Unit 902 has had no direct contact with Fugitive, but is following an identifiable trail. We'll report any change. Please relay to other units. Unit 902, clear.
Unit 8, 10-4.
Say, look, Jace. Bascom may stay on the other side of the canyon, or he may double back to this side. Why don't we save ourselves a lot of riding and split up for a bit?
Might not be a bad idea.
I'll take the canyon floor. It's sandy. Tracks will be easy to spot there. And you can work along this rim.
All right, but watch yourself, Ed. You'll be in the open down there.
Yeah, just let Bascom show himself once. That's all I want. Come on, Red Horse. We're going down. Easy now. Easy. Give me a chance to get to the bottom before you start, Jace.
Okay.
Something about a manhunt sharpens the hunter's senses. I sat on the rim for long moments watching Ed Harris descend that canyon wall, feeling danger without being able to identify it. Suddenly, smoke blossomed behind a rock on the opposite rim. I saw Harris sag in his saddle before the horse carried him out of sight. Dim by distance came the lagging sound of a shot.
Go, Charcoal. Go, boy. Harris! Harris, you all right? No! The rocks are in the way. Keep cover, Ed. Be with you in a minute.
Over here, Jace. He was right up there, but he beat it. I think I hit him. Those white coveralls make some target.
Probably realizes that by now, and he'll really run. How bad are you hit?
Oh, flesh wound, clean. Just above the elbow here. Help me get this kerchief on it. I'll be all right.
Pull your sleeve out of the way.
Yeah. He would pick my left arm. How'd he know I was a southpaw?
It's something we may be asking him right sudden. You okay now?
Yeah, I knew.
We pick up his trail on the rim. We'll have to watch sharp. He's going to try to keep that white suit out of sight. Now that we're this close to him.
Come on, Red Horse. Show that charcoal how to climb.
Come on, Charcoal.
Hey, get up. Come on, boy. Easy now. Just a little more. Almost to the top. Come on now. Whoa. Had a fat chance of picking up anybody's trail here, Jace. A herd of elephants could have crossed this loose shale without leaving a trace.
Maybe. Yeah, but look here. You see them?
Yeah. Ants, a whole trail of them.
Ants don't go after anything in this country they can't eat. Let's see what these are having for supper. Here we are. On this piece of shale.
Yeah, blood. And then I did nail him. We got a wounded animal on our hands, Jace. May let go at us from behind any of these brush clumps.
I don't think he's hurt so bad he won't keep on running. There's just a few drops here. I'm afraid you just creased him. That was pretty long range.
Well, it won't be the next time I get him in my sights, I promise you that. I owe him something for this arm. Let's go.
He's probably headed for that big mesquite thicket.
Yeah, he would. Come on, Red Horse.
Up, Charcoal.
Hey, Jace. Look, out there in the open. His coveralls. He's peeled them off.
And there he goes, into that big clump of brush across the clearing.
Come on, let's go get him.
Hey, wait a minute.
Whoa, boy. Whoa.
Circle around below him, Ed. Make a lot of racket like we're still together and hunting blind. Maybe you can flush him back between those big rocks.
Okay, I'll try it, Jace.
I'll hide Charcoal out behind the side of them, and maybe we can rig up a little surprise party for Mr. Bascom when he comes through.
But be careful, will you? He won't give you a chance. Don't give him one.
Chance? That killer? Just let me get my hands on him.
Come on, Red Horse. Hit that rock. Let's go. Here.
Easy, Charcoal. Easy. We go this way. Ooh, boy. There's the shade of this rock for you, Charcoal. Easy now, boy. Quiet. Quiet.
Head down, boy. Shh. Shut up, Charcoal. Freeze! Senor, what do you want?
We're Texas Rangers.
Oh, Rangers?
Yeah, I got him. But he's the wrong man.
Wrong man? What's he doing here?
Ask him.
Senores, I am scared. Padre mia, in this place is nobody. I am a lonesome man, mind my sheep. Then I hear the gun 2-3 times.
When?
No, a few minutes ago. I think maybe it's my friend Diego come from next valley with gun to kill Coyote. We have much trouble with Coyote here, senor.
We aren't looking for coyotes. Where'd your clothes?
I go to see if it's my friend when this malo hombre, this very bad man, is jumped from the bush. His gun is very big. He took my clothes. He tell me not to move, and he run. I stand still till he's gone. Then I run too.
Which way'd he go?
How do I know, senor? Me, Pedro, I am scared to death.
Sorry, Pedro. Forget about your clothes. You're a lucky man to be alive.
Si, I know, senora. Si.
You better get some more clothes before that storm hits. You aren't exactly dressed for bad weather. Oh, steady, Charcoal. Looks like our surprise didn't come off, Ed. Let's get moving before Bascom builds up a lead on us again.
Yeah, let's go, Red Hawk.
Yeah, you Charcoal.
Harris and I picked up the trail shortly, but Bascom managed to stay ahead of us using a large bag of tricks to keep out of sight, even if he couldn't shake us. When the sun set behind towering thunderclouds, we were working our way down a wide, arid valley, keeping some distance apart.
Hey, Jace, here's the tracks again.
Pick 'em up, Charcoal.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
See 'em?
Ooh.
There they are, heading right down there in the valley.
Fresh as daisies, too.
Yeah, no blow sand drifted into them at all.
We better try that general call again, Ed.
To report opposition?
Yeah, look at the direction those tracks are taking. They've been swinging that way the last half hour.
Yeah, I noticed that. Headed almost due east now.
Bascom's pulling another big red herring on us. He made for Highway 11 long enough for us to report it and set up interception for him there.
And then he swings straight east for Highway 13. Sort of catches us with our units down, don't it?
Bascom's gambling that it does. Yeah, I'll try the call. Unit 902 to unit in range. 902 to unit in range. 902 to unit in range.
It's no use, Jace. You can't raise anybody. We're too far out now.
The weather isn't helping any either on this lower ground. Looks like we're in for a real soaking before night.
Yeah. Well, Bascom can't possibly be much ahead of us. Maybe we can tree him before he gets through to the highway. Handle him on our own from here on.
You can't risk it, Ed. If he slips us and gets through to make a ride with somebody or steal another car, he'll be gone.
Well, I guess here's where we separate then. I'm kind of out of the running with this here bum arm. Give me the walkie-talkie and I'll double back till I'm in range of the units on Highway 11 again. That's good. It'll ride all right like that. Anything special for the boys?
Ask him to request coverage on Highway 13 all the way to Prado. And keep trying until you get through. I'll stick on his trail.
I'll have a relay into KDXA in half an hour.
As soon as you do, you better head out toward Dry Creek and get that arm looked after.
I'll wait till we've got Bascom. Good luck, Jace.
Same to you, Ed. Come on, Charlie.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, the rain struck with cloudburst intensity, bringing complete darkness, but not before John Bascom's tracks led me onto an adobe bench where sheep had been grazing. He'd removed his boots here, and his tracks blended with a maze of other bare footprints left by Mexican sheep herders. I rode on slowly. Suddenly, a small, rain-drenched boy stepped out from the brush. Charcoal nearly ran him down. Ooh, Charcoal. Steady, boy. Hey, you there. Hey, boy, Nino. Wait. Get him. He ran like a frightened little rabbit. Light winked as the door opened and closed, the door to an adobe shack. As I approached, I saw the blinds were tightly drawn, almost as though to prevent the leakage of any telltale light from the candle burning dimly inside. Oh, Charcoal. Oh, boy. Open up. Open up.
¿Quién es? Who are you?
Texas Ranger. Let me in out of this rain. I want to ask you some questions.
Oh, no, senor. I cannot let you in. My husband, he's sick. He's very sick.
That your boy that just ran in here?
Si, senor, my Juanito. He was going to look for the mama goat. The storm, she's bad. You frightened him, senor.
You gave me a turn for a minute, too. Look, I need a little help.
Me, I would do anything for the Texas Ranger.
I'm trailing a man, a very dangerous man. He must have passed close to here about the time the rain began. Where is he now?
We have seen nothing, Juanito. Me, nobody, senor.
Maybe your husband did then. Anyway, I want out of this rain.
Senor, no, you must not. My husband.
This woman was deathly afraid, but her eyes told me she wasn't afraid of me. Of the storm, perhaps, of the sickness in her house. or of the blanket-wrapped man lying on a bunk in the corner of the room with his bare feet protruding toward me. The door was thick. I pushed it inward as far as it'd go and stepped quickly behind it.
Senor, please.
Slide your gun out from under that blanket and drop it, Bascom. The gun, Bascom. Drop it or I'll break your other arm. Drop it.
You would be stubborn, Bascom. Now you really got something to be sick about.
Do something. I'm bleeding to death.
You won't get off that easy. We're saving you for the electric chair. You got something I can use for bandages, Senora?
Oh, my arm.
Un momento. Here, senor.
Gracias. This'll do fine.
How did you know?
He was holding a gun on you and the boy, making you do what he said?
See, how could you know?
Your real husband's a sheep man, isn't he?
Si, senor. He's working in Prado now.
Well, look at these bare feet sticking out here. You ever see an honest-to-goodness sheep man with his toes all crowded together from wearing cowboy boots? Better put some water on to heat. I'll need it to patch him up enough to take him in.
John Bascom was tried in Live Oak County and found guilty of the murder of 2 men. On the 2nd day of December 1947 at Huntsville Prison, his sentence was carried out. Death in the electric chair.
And now, here again is the star of our show, Joel McCrea.
One of the pleasures afforded us here in this show is the large number of letters we receive asking for special information about the Texas Rangers. This week we received one, an especially interesting letter, in which the writer said she had heard of an official Ranger's prayer and inquired if such a prayer actually existed. It does. The prayer was written by Captain Pierre Bernard Hill, chaplain of the Texas Rangers, and I should like you to hear it. O God, whose end is justice, whose strength is all our stay, be near and bless my mission as I go forth today. Let wisdom guide my actions. Let courage fill my heart. And help me, Lord, in every hour to do a ranger's part. Protect when danger threatens. Sustain when trails are rough. Help me to keep my standard high and smile at each rebuff. When night comes down upon me, I pray thee, Lord, be nigh, whether on lonely scout or camped under Texas sky. Keep me, O God, in life, and when my days shall end, forgive my sins and take me in, for Jesus' sake. Amen. Good night, folks. Good night.
Next week, Joel McCrea in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Joel McCrea will soon be seen in the Universal International Technicolor production, Frenchie. Tonight's cast included Tony Barrett, Herb Butterfield, Barney Phillips, Bill Johnstone, Herb Ellis, and Lillian Baya. This story was transcribed and adapted by Tom W. Blackburn, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. This is Hal Gibney speaking.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Tonight, Theater Guild on the Air presents Judy Garland in the prize-winning novel Alice Adams, co-starring Thomas Mitchell. Another Sunday evening favorite is the $64 Question, starring Jack Parr. Tomorrow on the station of the Chimes, you'll hear Gordon MacRae as your singing master of ceremonies on one of his wonderful musical journeys aboard the show train. The Chimes are your invitation to the best in radio entertainment. Be sure to hear Judy Garland next in Theater Guild on NBC. Listen at the close of this program for an important announcement of a change in time for Tales of the Texas Rangers.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Joel McCrea in Tales of the Texas Rangers. Tonight, transcribed from Hollywood, another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. Texas, more than 260,000 square miles, and 50 men who make up the most famous and oldest law enforcement body in North America. From the files of the Texas Rangers come these stories based on fact. Only names, dates, and places are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record. Case for tonight, blood relative.
It is 4 p.m., June 26, 1949. Will Bonner, proprietor of the general store at Stump Hill, Texas, is waiting on Mac Kennedy, a dirt farmer.
Yeah. It pounds of flour and the bacon, Mac. Anything else?
Yeah, carton of cigarettes.
Yeah. How about making it a couple of sacks of tobacco, huh?
What's the matter, Will? My credit no good anymore?
Mac, I think you ought to pull in your horns a little. Your bill's running kind of high.
You get your money, don't you?
Ain't a question of getting it, Mac. You stand to make a good crop this year. Unless you have to pay out, the better chance you'll have to get on your feet permanent, without no credit.
Let me worry about... go ahead. Wait on him.
Yeah.
That's all right. I got time.
No, I'll take care of you, stranger. What do you have?
Stranger? Time ain't helping your sight any, is it, Uncle Will?
Huh? Ben! Well, dang it, boy, you changed. How do you like that? Didn't recognize my own blood relative. Oh, Liz! Come see who's here. Willie Ann sees you.
What is it, Will?
Hey, don't say nothing. Fella wants to know you want to buy some perfume.
Perfume? Well, land, no, Will. You could have told him that. What would I do with... Why... It's your brother's boy, Ben.
It sure is.
Stop cackling, Will. You know about your pa.
I know he's dead.
Oh, being glad to see you, Ben. I almost forgot. It happened last winter.
The pneumonia.
Yeah, we tried to locate you, boy, but nobody knew where you was.
Nobody would have wanted to know. I was in the pen at Huntsville.
Huh?
That's where I've been for 4 years.
In the prison? Your pa never said...
Wasn't nobody's business but mine.
Well, Ben, I guess we can talk that over later. You want to stay? There's a place here.
I ain't asking you for nothing except what's coming to me. I just want you to buy out my pa's share of the store and pay me off.
Well, Ben, your pa never did have a share in the store. You only worked for me.
What you trying to get away with, Uncle Will? He told me he was going in with you when he moved out here.
But then you knew your pa. He always talked big, but he never did have a dime of his own.
You telling me about my own pa?
No, we ain't running him down, boy. He never harmed nobody, but talking big was just his way.
Look, I come to get what's mine. Do I get it or don't I?
Ben, there's a bed and a job waiting for you if you want 'em. You're kinfolk, and that makes you welcome. But outside of that, there ain't nothing here that's yours.
You're going to pay me out for you.
You just hold on, young...
Let me go.
Hey, turn him loose, lad. Reckon I can still take care of myself.
Maybe you can, maybe you can't, Uncle Will. I'm staying around town to give you a chance to change your mind. Now, I'm warning you. I'm going to get what's mine if I have to kill you for it. On the following morning, June 27th, neighbors found Will Bonner shot to death.
and his wife Liz critically wounded and unconscious in the back room living quarters of their store. The sheriff called with the assistance of a Texas Ranger. Ranger Jace Pearson was assigned to the case.
Well, that's all of the story, just like I found it, Jace.
You look pretty downhearted, Sheriff. Bonner a friend of yours?
I knowed him all my life. He helped me get elected. Hey, body's in the back room. You want to see it?
Yeah. You can stay here if you'd rather.
No, I'll come. Guess you noticed the way the safe was cracked and the door where the killer got in?
Yeah, professional job, all right.
I covered Will over with a sheet. Maybe I shouldn't have, but
It's all right. Coroner hasn't been here yet, huh?
No, he's on his way.
Dead about 6-7 hours.
How do you figure that, Jace?
Rigor mortis just beginning to set in. You see a lot of them, you get to know.
9 o'clock now. That means it happened about 2 or 3 this morning, huh?
That's close to it. How about Bonner's wife? She going to pull through?
Doc Woodson took her to the county hospital. He said there's a little chance.
You've got a deputy posted at the hospital in case she comes to?
Yep, he can take any statement she... Sheriff, I got to talk to you a minute. Well, all right, Jody, come in. Farmhand works for Mac Kennedy on and off.
Howdy, Ranger. Sheriff.
What's on your mind, Jody?
Well, I just come to pick up some feed in Mac's pickup. Heard about what happened.
You know anything about it?
Not exactly. But I was in town with Mac yesterday afternoon. He come to trust some supplies from Bonner.
What time?
Oh, about 4 o'clock. I wasn't in the store with him, but when he come out and we was driving back, Mac said Bonner had a fuss with somebody. Fella threatened to kill him.
He say who the fella was?
No, but whoever it was, he took a swing at Bonner. Mac had to grab him to stop a fight.
Where's Kennedy now?
Well, he was out plowing when I left.
Won't be able to get him by phone then. Come on, Sheriff. Let's get out there and talk to him.
Dead? Will Bonner dead?
Yeah, and Liz is mighty close to joining him, Mac.
Better cut the motor on your tractor.
Yeah. Sheriff, Will should have told you about that fella. I should have called and told you myself after what he threatened to do to him.
Too late for what anybody should have done. You know the man?
Never saw him before, but I know who he is. Bonner's nephew. Fresh out of Huntsville. I heard him say so.
An ex-con, and you didn't say anything about it?
Well, Sheriff, how could I know he'd do it? A blood relative. Wasn't my affair, was it?
You know the man if you saw him again?
I'd know him any place.
Better come into town with us. Talk while we ride.
Okay.
Did Bonner mention his nephew's name?
Well, he called him Ben.
Hey, Will Bonner had a brother died last year. Must have been his boy.
We'll find out. On the way into Stump Hill, Mac Kennedy told us the story of the threat and gave me a description of Ben Bonner. I put a shortwave radio call through to KTXA. Unit 10 to KTXA.
KTXA, go ahead, Unit 10.
Request all units be alerted to look out for subject Ben Bonner, recently released from Huntsville. Subject wanted for questioning in murder of Will Bonner at Stump Hill.
10-4.
Request special alert on all roads leading from Stump Hill. Subject may be leaving area on foot or by hitchhike.
10-4.
Unit 10, clear.
KTXA, Austin.
Maybe young Bonner didn't run for it, Jace. He may be hiding out someplace nearby.
Not likely, Sheriff. If he killed his uncle, he'll go for distance.
He killed him, all right. You can bet on that.
When a man's life's at stake, Kennedy, I don't bet. Ben Bonner wasn't around Stump Hill. He'd pulled stakes and made a run for it, all right. We got the information from a woman in the crowd near the store when we got back to town. Her name was Sadie Wattle. She ran a rooming house.
I rent all my rooms to extra farmhands, generally, because I don't have to serve no meals that way, with them eating where they're working. So naturally, I thought this fella was one of them migratory hands.
Yeah, I understand all that, ma'am. All I want to know is when Ben Bonner left your place.
Well, it must have been just around midnight last night. Everybody was in and sleeping, and the house was locked up. And, well, the phone woke me up, and it was for him, that Ben.
Phone, huh? You know who called him?
Of course not. I didn't know who he was or nothing about him, except his name was Ben.
But did you recognize the voice of the person who called?
No.
Well, please go ahead about the phone call.
Well, I called him to the phone, that's all. Fine time of night to be waking people, I told him. Then he answered it. Right after that, he lit out like the devil was after him.
You hear any of the conversation?
I did not. I mind my own business. Besides, all he said was hello. After that, all the talking must have been done by whoever called him, because he never said another word, just listened a minute, then hung up and lit out.
Phone ringing in the store, Jace. I better get it.
Go ahead, Sheriff. Well, thanks for your help, Mrs. Waddle.
I'm glad I'm alive to give it. Whew. I might have been murdered in my own sleep with an ex-convict under my roof. Ought to be some way we could tell him from other folks.
A man who served his time can't be expected to carry a brand, ma'am. Besides, how did you know Ben Bonner's an ex-convict?
How did I know? Huh. It's all over town, ain't it?
Jace, the call is for you.
Right there, Sheriff. Thanks, ma'am. Excuse me. Who's calling?
Your headquarters, Captain Stinson.
Hello, Captain.
Got some good news for you, Jace. The Highway Patrol has picked up Ben Bonner.
Fine. Where'd they get him?
Almost to El Paso. Patrol car was stopped at a railroad crossing waiting for a freight to get through. They spotted him riding an empty flat.
Freight, huh? It's a good thing they saw him. If he'd made El Paso, he'd been across the border into Juarez in no time.
Well, he didn't make it. They're bringing him back to Stump Hill now. You'll have him there in a few hours. You getting the case against him?
I seem to be getting plenty.
Well, you don't sound too sure, Jace.
I don't know. You look up his record? What was on his last ticket to Huntsville?
Burglary, Jace. And that fits. Except for the killing this time.
Yeah, it fits all right. Like the executioner's glove. Stump Hill was 5 miles cross-country from the nearest railroad spur. We had time before the highway patrol would be delivering Ben Bonner. We sent Kennedy back to his farm. I unloaded charcoal from our horse trailer, and the sheriff got his horse. We rode to the railroad tracks.
Yeah, he was smart, Jace. Almost got away.
Lots of them almost get away. He sure made a lot of distance in a hurry.
Don't know why you wanted to be sure he came this way to get to the train.
I just wanted to be certain he cut through this 5 miles on foot. Proves he didn't hitchhike a fast ride and pick up a train further on down the line.
Well, luck was with him for a while. He caught the only train he could have caught.
You mean only one freight goes through here at night?
Yep. Hotshot passenger clears first at about 1 a.m. Freight comes through about 15 minutes later. Slows for the grade here where he jumped it.
About 1:15's the schedule for the freight then, huh?
That's right.
Well, let's get back to town. Come on, Chuck.
You look like that train schedule means something, Jace.
It might. Coroner's report ought to be in by the time we get back to town.
Hey, I see what you mean. If Bonner was killed between 2 and 3 a.m. like you figured...
It'll mean his nephew Ben was on that freight at the time the old man was killed. The coroner's report had been completed. It was waiting at the sheriff's office when we got back.
Well, you didn't miss by much, Jace. Here's the report on the time of death.
What is it?
Between 1 and 2 a.m.
Then Ben Bonner didn't kill his uncle. Even if he ran the 5 miles across country, his tracks showed us he walked. He couldn't have made it in time to catch that freight.
Doesn't look that way. Bullets from Bonner's body have been sent through to Austin. We may get a lead from ballistics.
I'm going to do some more checking around town on it.
Just a second, Jace. Sheriff speaking. Oh, good. She did, huh? No, you stay right there. Goodbye. Well, Jace, looks like there's been a mistake someplace. That was my deputy at the county hospital. Liz Bonner regained consciousness for a few seconds.
What'd she say?
She said her and her husband were shot by their nephew, Ben.
You are listening to Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. We continue with tonight's case, Blood Relative, an authentic story from the files of the Texas Rangers.
The highway patrol brought Ben Bonner back to Stump Hill and unloaded him at the local jail where the sheriff and I questioned him.
But I didn't kill him, I tell you. Didn't even know he was dead till now.
You said you was gonna kill him. You said it in front of a witness.
Man, there's a difference between saying and doing.
If you had nothing to do with it, why'd you run away?
Because somebody called me up last night at the rooming house late. It was a man. Said he was a friend and wanted to warn me the sheriff was going to pick me up for threatening Uncle Will.
You scare easy, don't you?
You bet your life I do, mister. I just pulled 4 years at Huntsville and I had enough. I don't want no more. Maybe I was tough when I went to Uncle Will yesterday, but last night when I got that call, I was scared sick.
And you don't know who called you?
No, I don't
You
know.
sure it wasn't somebody you served time with, letting you know he was here to help you with the job?
No. Look, you gotta believe me. This is a murder rap. You can't send me up for it just because I shot off my mouth. That ain't evidence.
Ben, there's more than that. Your Aunt Liz didn't die. She came to at the hospital. She says it was you who gunned her and her husband.
That's a dirty lie. Look, if I did that, if I shot them and robbed the store, what was I doing on a freight? What did I do with the money? I ain't going to say any more. I ain't going to talk till I see a lawyer.
That's your right. We told you that in the beginning. All right, Sheriff. Guess you can lock him up again.
Go on, go ahead.
Ranger, please, I didn't do it. Maybe the fellow who told you I threatened Uncle Will didn't tell you everything. Maybe you ought to ask him why there was arguing when I come into the store.
All right, Ben, all right. Well, what do you think, Chase?
I don't know. Let's get outside.
If he did have an accomplice, the other fellow might be carting the loot and the gun.
Might be. I'll see you later, Sheriff. I'm driving over to the hospital at the county seat. I want to talk to his aunt, Liz Bonner. Mrs. Bonner, the doctor will only let me stay a minute.
Well, shot Will, just getting up.
Who shot him, Mrs. Bonner?
Ben, ungrateful, wanted to help him.
How did it happen?
There was a noise in the store. Woke us up.
Mm-hmm.
Will called, said, "Who's there?" Then he got up, went to put on the lights, but then shot him.
Did he get the lights on? Did you ever see your nephew?
No, but it was him. He said he'd do it. It was him.
If you didn't see him, did he say anything? Did you hear his voice and recognize it?
No, he just shot Will. I screamed, and that's all.
But you didn't see Ben or recognize his voice?
No, but he said he would. It couldn't be anybody else.
I think you're wrong, ma'am. I think it could be. I burned up the road back to Stump Hill and got the sheriff. I wanted to make another check of the store and find out a few things about Mac Kennedy.
Doggone it, Jace. You're sending your dogs at the wrong tree. Mac Kennedy's been Will's friend for years.
I just asked if Kennedy'd ever been in trouble.
Never. He's an honest, God-fearing dirt farmer, and that's all.
What kind of shape is he in financially?
Well, Jace, a man don't have to be a criminal just because he's down on his luck. Mac's crops have been bad.
Sheriff, I'm just asking a few questions, that's all.
Well, I'm sorry, Jace. I reckon Mac's in hock up to his neck. Place and all his equipment is mortgaged.
How come he can afford a hired hand?
You mean Jody?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he just drifts in and out. Ain't much of a worker, but he's all Mac needs. Migrates in the spring for planting season, then out again in the fall after harvest.
He doesn't work for nothing, does he?
Mac pays him right off when he makes his crop and sells it.
That the way he pays everybody?
Yeah, it's the only time he ever has any cash. Why?
Just wondering. Did Mac buy here on credit from Bonner?
Well, I guess so. Why? You find something in the ledger?
Come take a look. Seems to be a page torn out. The book is kept in alphabetical order. Missing page is in the K's. If there was a charge page in here for Kennedy, it'd be right here.
Now you got something I can't fight, Jace. What a setup. An ex-con threatens to kill a man, makes it perfect for somebody else to do the job and set the jailbird up for a frame.
Come on, Sheriff. Let's get out to Kennedy's place again. Only this trip, we won't be asking questions about Ben Bonner.
There's one thing still bothering me, Jace. Mac Kennedy's never been in trouble. So how come we both spotted the marks of a professional knob-knocker on the burglary?
It's been bothering me, too. And the more I think of it, the more I wonder why he tore that charge page out of the ledger. Why do something that would point right at him when he had somebody else all set up to take the fall? Just beating the bill wouldn't make the chance worthwhile.
Not with murder, it wouldn't.
KTX-80, Unit 10.
Oh, this may be the ballistics report, Jace.
Yeah. Unit 10, Go ahead, KTXA.
Lab report completed on bullets used in the slaying of Will Bonner. 38 caliber, probably Smith & Wesson Police Special.
10-4. Unit 10, clear.
KTXA Austin.
A minute, KTXA. Stand by, please.
KTXA standing by.
What's the matter, Jace?
Just got an idea. Something that didn't fit before. That hand who works for Kennedy, that Jody. What's his last name?
Jody? Let's see. It's Pelham. Jody Pelham. Why?
I'll tell you in a minute. You there, KTXA?
Standing by, Unit 10.
This unit requests quick check on subject Jody Pelham. Repeat, Jody Pelham. Urgent.
10-4. Get back to you with information soon as possible.
Unit 10, clear.
KTXA Austin.
Jace, you figuring Jody helped Mac Kennedy to pull this job?
Maybe. Or maybe Jody did it on his own. I want to know if he's got a record.
What switched your thinking to him?
He was waiting outside Bonner's store for Kennedy when Ben walked in yesterday and made his threats.
Well, sure, he admitted that. Kennedy told him about Ben when he come out, and they drove on back to the farm.
Yeah, but when Jody came into town the next morning and came to tell us about the threats, he pretended he didn't know too much. Just knew that old Will Bonner had been threatened. Couldn't say who made the threats.
Well, I don't get what you're driving at, Joe.
If Kennedy told him, he must have told him the whole story about the threats coming from Bonner's nephew. A nephew just gotten out of prison. That'd be the logical way to tell it. And that's the way Kennedy did tell it. But Jody was anxious not to seem to know too much.
Hey, sure, I see what you mean. Kennedy wasn't in town this morning till we went out and brought him in.
Yeah, but when we got back, everybody in town knew that the man we were looking for was Bonner's nephew, and that he was an ex-con. Sadie Waddles told us that.
Only one it could have come from was Jody. He spread it around while we were out getting Kennedy.
When we get to the farm, draw him out. Don't pounce on him until I get an answer on him from Austin.
I hope it's the right answer. It may save Mac Kennedy's life.
It was dark when we reached the farmhouse. There was a light on in the house, but the pickup truck wasn't in sight in the open garage. We left my car around in back of the house and went up on the porch.
Okay, hold your horses. Oh, Sheriff, Ranger, huh? I thought it was Jody coming back with the pickup.
Where'd he go?
He drove up north to Edgeville this afternoon. Said he wanted to get something. He ought to be back soon.
Well, aren't you going to ask us in, Mac?
Oh, sure thing. Make yourself at home. Understand you got Bonner's nephew today. Heard a couple of women chewing about it on the party line.
Yeah, we got him temporarily.
What do you mean, temporarily?
He didn't kill anybody, Mac.
Hmm?
You had an argument with Bonner yesterday. What about?
I reckon that's my business.
Yours and Bonner's. But he's dead now, so that makes it my business.
Better talk up, Mac.
Well, I've been running up a big bill. Will was cutting me down a little.
You admit you owed him money.
Why wouldn't I admit it? I pay my bills. Any man says otherwise is a liar.
Nobody is saying otherwise, Mac.
You keep a gun around here anyplace?
Yeah.
What kind?
Smith & Wesson 38. It's right there on the mantel over the fireplace.
I'll get it, Jason.
Oh, don't wipe off any prints. Stick a pencil in the muzzle and lift it that way.
Okay. Pencil won't go in, Jace. Something jamming it.
And let me see. I'll have to worry about prints on that. Outside's been wiped clean with an oil rag.
Looks like paper jammed in there.
We'll soon find out. I'll take these shells out and poke the pencil through. There.
Why, it's Mac's charge page from the ledger.
What's that? What are you trying to pull?
Take it easy, Mac. We're not after you. Smell this gun and look at it, Sheriff. It was used, then reloaded, but never cleaned.
Now, that gun hasn't been touched in years.
Mac, this gun killed Will Bonner and almost killed his wife last night. Jody Pelham did it after you told him about Bonner's nephew.
But why would he tear out that page and plant it here?
So he could use Mac here to give himself a double cover-up. He made the call to the rooming house and got Ben Bonner to run. But he knew if Ben was caught any place and could set up an alibi, there'd be a second search. That's why he tore out the page and planted it here on Mac.
I'm sure glad you know it wasn't me.
If it was you, you'd have burned the page.
That dirty little... Hey, there he comes now. That's the pickup.
You want to help us nail him?
I'd like to blow his brains out.
Now, there's a better way. Let him feel safe. Here, let me put these cuffs on you quick.
Mm-hmm.
Put that gun back in the mantel, Sheriff.
Yeah, but are you sure that you...
Like he says, Mac.
Boy, I didn't know anybody was here. Mac, what's the matter? What are you doing with those things on?
What's your guess, Jody? Or what's in that bag you're carrying?
Well, I just picked me up a bottle, a package stolen in Edgefield.
What'd you use for money? You don't get credit on liquor.
Well, Mac, he paid me some wages this morning.
What, you dirty little liar.
Oh, I get it. I kind of wondered where he got the money.
Now you know, huh?
Well, when I got up last night and found he was gone, I sort of got to wondering this morning.
You
shut up, Mac.
All right, Sheriff. I guess we can take him in. You better come along to make a statement, Jody.
Sure. I hate to do a thing like this to a friend, but I guess he deserves it. Doing old Bonner like he did.
Yeah. I thought you'd feel that way. Let's go. You might as well admit you fired the gun, Mac. A diphenylman test will prove you did.
What kind of test is that?
A man fires a gun. The nitrate from the powder gets into the pores of his hand. Chemical application shows it up.
Well, he's washed his hands since last night, I reckon.
Oh, washing won't get it out. It stays for a couple of days. You fired a gun recently, Jody?
No.
Well, then we make the same test on your hand. It'll show you the difference.
Well, you don't have to do that. I don't understand that kind of stuff anyway.
That's too bad. I thought you might like to see how we work. Get in. Watch him, Sheriff.
All right.
Well, Austin ought to have that information I requested before, Sheriff.
Yeah?
This might bore you, Jody. Unit 10 to KTXA.
Go ahead, Unit 10.
This unit back in service.
Been waiting for you. Have information you requested on subject Jody Pelham.
What's that?
2 years Huntsville burglary. 3 years Louisiana State Penitentiary burglary and safe cracking.
10-4. Unit 10, clear.
KTXA Austin.
Stop this car. Let me get out of here.
Watch him, Sheriff. Don't make me use this gun, Judy.
You rotten.
Never mind that, Mac. Here, take these keys and put the cuffs on the right man, Sheriff. We might as well have him there. He'll be wearing them a lot until he reaches the death cell at Huntsville.
Jody Pelham was tried and convicted for the wanton murder of Will Bonner. On the morning of December 6, 1949, at Huntsville Penitentiary, his sentence was carried out. Death in the electric chair.
And now, here again is the star of our show, Joel McCrea.
Folks, Tales of the Texas Rangers is moving to a new time. You won't hear us next Sunday, but the week after that, we'll be back just an hour and a half later than usual on NBC, right after Theater Guild. So we'll see you in 2 weeks, on Sunday, November 26th. And I hope you'll be listening. Good night.
Good night, Joel. See you 1 week from this coming Sunday. Remember, friends, as Joel told you, Tales of the Texas Rangers will come to you an hour and a half later, immediately following Theater Guild. Beginning next Sunday at this time, you'll hear Hedda Hopper's fine program. The week after next, November 26th, Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson will be with you again. A week from Sunday, Joel McCrea in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Joel McCrea is currently seen starring in the MGM production Stars in My Crown. Tonight's cast included Tony Barrett, Bill Johnstone, Joe Duvall, Virginia Gregg, Parley Bear, and Byron Kane. This story was transcribed and adapted by Joel Murcott, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. 1 week from next Sunday, Tales of the Texas Rangers will be back with you immediately following Theater Guild. Consult your local radio schedule for time. This is Hal Gibney speaking.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Joel McCrea in Tales of the Texas Rangers. Tonight, transcribed from Hollywood, another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McRae as Ranger Jace Pearson. Texas, more than 260,000 square miles. And 50 men who make up the most famous and oldest law enforcement body in North America. Now, from the files of the Texas Rangers come these stories based on fact. Only names, dates, and places are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record. Case for tonight, hanging by a thread.
At 9:15 on the morning of May 5th, 1947, the telephone rang in the sheriff's office in the little town of Finney, Texas. Sheriff Hansen answered it.
Sheriff's office, Hanson speaking.
Sheriff, this is George Hawks.
How are you, George? What can I do for you?
Nothing now. Nobody can.
How's that?
I just called to tell you I'm going to kill myself.
What did you say?
You heard me. It'll take you 20 minutes to get out to my place. By that time, I'll be dead.
Now, wait a minute, George. What? Hello? George! Operator!
Yes, sir?
Oh, this is the sheriff. That caller just came in here. Where was it from?
One moment, Sheriff.
If this is someone's idea of a practical joke...
Hello, Sheriff.
Yes?
That call was placed from 317 out on Gum Creek Road, the residence of Mr. George Hawks.
The sheriff raced out to the Hawks Ranch and found George Hawks dead, hanging in the barn. Then he made another discovery which prompted him to put in a call to the Texas Rangers. Ranger Jace Pearson was assigned to the case and drove to the Hawks Ranch to meet Sheriff Hansen.
Jace, am I glad to see you.
Howdy, Sheriff. It's been a long time.
Yeah, a month of Sundays. Now, I hope I didn't call you down here for nothing, Jace, but this looks mighty fishy to me. So I want you to take a look at the body.
Hasn't been taken down yet?
No, I put in a call to the coroner, but he was out somewhere. I left a message for him to come out here as soon as they could locate him.
How'd you find out about the body, Sheriff?
I got a phone call, Jace, about 9:15. Said it was George Hawks and he was going to kill himself. I thought maybe it was some joker, so I traced the call.
And?
It came from here, all right. So I drove out fast as I could, but George was dead. Hanging by the neck in the barn. No pulse. Body still warm.
Sheriff, I know you didn't call me down here to investigate a routine suicide. What's the catch?
Well, I'm getting to that. Come in the barn. This is just the way he was when I found him. You notice that's a wire he's hanging from, not a rope.
Yeah. Cut off the clothesline, probably.
Huh? How'd you know?
Guessed. I saw the clothesline had been cut, part of it dragging on the ground in the yard.
You Rangers don't miss much, do you?
Not if we can help it, Sheriff.
Well, I want to show you something I found. Look at this, right under the body.
It's an oil drum.
Right. And the exact position I found it in, on its side. Now, you'll notice, Jace, that it's the only thing near enough that George could have stood on while he put the wire around his neck.
Here's the rim marks where it stood on the straw before it was tipped over.
Yeah, only he didn't stand on it. Look at this end of the drum. Thick with dust. Now, look at the other end. Dusty, too. Jace, there's not a sign of a footprint on either end of this oil drum.
You're right, Sheriff. He couldn't have climbed up in the loft and jumped, or that wire would have taken his head off.
Yeah, that's what I figured, and that's why I called you.
What about fingerprints?
Nope. Couldn't find any, just a few smears. What does it spell to you, Jace?
Just one word, and an unpleasant one. Murder. I got my camera out of the car and took pictures of the body. And we took down the broken clothesline and nosed around for more evidence. The sheriff went up to look over the house while I combed the barn. How'd you make out up at the house, Sheriff?
Nothing, Jace. Absolutely nothing. No note from George. Everything tidy. No sign of a struggle. Funny nobody's around.
Who would be ordinarily?
His wife, Millie. One of the hands. He had 2 men working for him last I heard. How you coming, Jace?
I found a couple of things, but not the thing I want.
What's that?
The tool that was used to cut the wire he's hanging on. All I found in the barn here was this pair of rusty pliers.
Well, couldn't they have been used to cut it?
No, Sheriff. They wouldn't cut butter.
Mm-hmm.
Besides, the cut's too clean.
How about footprints?
No luck yet. But I think I've found what the killer stood on to string the body up.
What?
The stepladder. I found it under the tool bench. Been used lately. Marks in the dust where it'd been dragged out and then pushed back.
Well, what are you fixing to do, Jace?
Going up the ladder and take a look at the beam where the wire's looped over.
Here, I'd better hold it for you. It's pretty rickety.
Thanks.
Find something?
I think so.
What is it, Jace?
Look at this. Stuck on a splinter where the wire went over the beam.
It's a piece of black thread.
Yeah, black wool thread.
Well, are you a string saver, Jace?
In a case like this, yes. Let's take a look outside. Mm-hmm. What about a motive, Sheriff?
For suicide or murder?
Either.
Can't think of a one offhand. George was a pretty normal guy. Happily married. Didn't have any enemies that I know of.
How about those 2 hands you mentioned?
Well, this new one, Brad Johnson, been working for George about 6 months. Only met him a couple of times. Seemed to be all right. In a quiet sort of way.
And the other?
Old Tom, oh, he's okay. Drinks a lot. George used to fire him regular and then take him back when he sobered up.
There's no good footprints in the yard here.
Nope. Ground's packed pretty hard.
Oh, Sheriff. Car coming up the house. Is that the coroner?
That? Well, no, that looks like... Well, sure, that's George Hawk's car. That's Millie driving it. Mrs. Hawk's.
Come on. We'll have to tell her, Sheriff. This is the only part of the job I really hate.
Yeah, I know, Jace.
Sheriff, what are you doing out this way? And...
Well, morning, Mrs. Hawks. This is Ranger Pearson.
Howdy, ma'am.
Ranger? What's happened? What's the matter?
I'm sorry to have to tell you, Millie, but George...
Something happened to George?
Yes. He's dead.
Oh, no.
Come on, Mrs. Hawks. We'll take you to the house.
I can't believe he'd do it.
Mrs. Hawks, when did you last see your husband?
Just a few hours ago at breakfast.
How did he appear at breakfast? I mean, was anything wrong? Was he upset about anything?
Well, yes, there was a big fight at breakfast. I never seen George get so mad.
A fight? Between you and your husband?
Well, all 4 of us were in on it. Old Tom and Brad was there, too. They're the hired hands.
How did it start?
I cooked breakfast for the 4 of us, like I always do. Old Tom was late, so we started to eat. When we were about through, old Tom came staggering in. He was half drunk.
Again, huh?
Yes, Sheriff, again. Then he and George had this big row, and George fired him for being drunk.
Go on.
Old Tom was fighting mad. He gets mean when he's been drinking. Started making all kinds of wild accusations.
What kind of accusations, Mrs. Hawks?
Lies, Ranger. All of them lies. He said he wouldn't have been drunk if Brad hadn't bought liquor for him.
Brad?
Well, that's what he claimed. Said Brad got him drunk on purpose so he... Oh, it was awful.
So he could what?
Well, it's a lie, Ranger.
What did he say, Mrs. Hawks?
Well, old Tom said to Brad, I wouldn't be drunk if you didn't buy me the stuff. You're always trying to get me out of the way so I won't see you... So I won't see you playing up to the boss's wife.
Then what happened?
Well, Tom left, and my husband started swearing and threatening Brad, accusing him of what Tom said. Brad said it was a lie, and then George threw some money in his face and told him to get off the place, that he was fired, too.
What did Brad do?
I thought for a minute he was going to hit George, but he didn't. He went outside, and a few minutes later I heard his car start, and he drove away. By this time, George was in a terrible rage. He even threatened to kill me. So I grabbed the car keys and ran.
Did he ask you where you were going?
Yes, he did, Ranger. And I told him I was going in town to see Mr. Harris, the lawyer, see about getting a divorce.
What time did you leave?
About 8:30. Ranger, you said you found him hanging in the barn. Well, if it was suicide, why are you asking me all these questions?
Because I don't think it was suicide, Mrs. Hawks. I think it was murder. After the coroner and the doctor arrived, the sheriff borrowed a horse from the corral. I got charcoal out of the trailer, and we headed for Tom's shack up in the hills.
There it is, Jace. Just around those rocks.
That Tom's horse, Sheriff? Grazing out back?
Yep.
He's around someplace. Up, charcoal.
Yep. I just can't see old Tom as a killer, Jace. He ain't the type.
Huntsville's full of them, Sheriff. Killers who aren't the type.
Oh,
charcoal. Oh, boy. Yeah. Let's try the front door.
Okay.
All right, Tom. Open up.
He's not here, Jace. I can see through the windows. Shack's empty. What the?
Somebody's shooting close by. Maybe Tom. That shot came from back up in that draw. Come on, Sheriff.
There he is. Back by that clump of trees.
Is that Tom?
Sure is. Hey, he's running toward the trees.
Hold it, Tom. Stay where you are. I'll put one over his head.
Ah. Yeah, he's starving. See what he's wearing, Jace?
Yeah. Black sweater.
What's all the commotion?
All right, Tom. Throw down that rifle.
Sure, Ranger. But, what for?
Why didn't you stop when I told you to?
Well, to tell the truth, Ranger, I didn't hear you. I'm kind of deaf. I heard you shot, though.
Yeah, that's right, Jace. He's hard of hearing.
What's that, Sheriff?
Oh, never mind. Why'd you shoot at us, Tom?
Shoot at you? Why, I never did no such thing.
What were you doing then?
Ain't no law against a man killing himself a rabbit for supper.
All right. Get his rifle, Sheriff. Let's go.
Huh? Where to?
To your shack first. We're going to have a long talk about George Hawks.
I'll tell you, Ranger, I didn't know George was dead until you told me a minute ago. What call would I have to kill him? If he was killed, he was my friend.
You don't seem very clear about what happened this morning, Tom.
Well, I was a bit foggy. I had me a couple of nips. But I do remember George getting mad and firing me.
What happened after that?
Well, I took a few more out of the bottle in my saddlebag. I don't remember much after that. I must have rode up here and fell asleep. Woke up a while ago. I was hungry, and I went out to get me a rabbit.
Tell me, Tom, do you often draw a blank when you've been drinking?
Do I what, Ranger?
Have a blank space. Do things you don't remember anything about later.
Oh, I suppose I have once or twice. Hey, wait a minute. I didn't do it. I couldn't have killed George. He was my friend.
These your wire cutters on the table, Tom?
Oh, yeah, they are.
I'll take them. And I think you'd better come along to town with us.
You are listening to Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrae as Ranger Jace Pearson at our new Sunday time. We hope that our many friends who have listened to us at the earlier hour will continue to be with us each Sunday. And for those of you who are hearing our program for the first time, we extend a warm and cordial welcome and invite you to be with us each Sunday from now on. And now we continue with tonight's case, Hanging by a Thread, an authentic story from the files of the Texas Rangers.
The finger was pointing straight at Tom. When we got back to the Hawks Ranch, there was a man in the back lot feeding the hogs. It was Brad Johnson, the third witness at the breakfast fight. While the sheriff took Tom into town, I got Brad's version of what happened.
And then he threw the money in my face, Ranger. $30. Told me I was fired. I wanted to hit him, but I didn't.
Then what, Brad?
Then I got my duffel bag, threw it in my car, and drove off.
Where'd you go?
To Finney. Drove around town for a few minutes, and then I went to the White Spot Cafe and had a cup of coffee.
What time was this?
When I was in the cafe? Oh, About 9:30, I guess.
Why'd you come back here?
Well, somebody in town said that George had killed himself and that the coroner was on his way out here.
So?
Well, I figured if it was true, there wouldn't be anybody to do the chores. We fired old Tom, too. And Mrs. Hawks always treated me so friendly. Well, so I come out to do what I could.
Yeah, that's very nice of you. Tell me, Brad, is there anything between you and Mrs. Hawks?
No, sir. That's a lie, Ranger. Never even spoke to each other except at meal times or say good morning.
What are you planning to do now?
Well, I don't know. Have Mrs. Hawks till she can get somebody, I reckon.
I see. Well, I gotta be moseying along. Oh, don't leave town without letting me know.
Oh, I won't, Ranger. I'll be around.
I got the evidence off to Austin and then went to the White Spot Cafe. Brad had been seen there at 9:30, and Mrs. Hawks had been with her lawyer half an hour before. I radioed headquarters that I was staying over in Finney, and about 9 that night, I got a phone call. Hello?
Jace, Captain Stinson. I've got the report on that stuff you sent in today. You got a pencil?
Sure have, Captain. Shoot.
On that black wool sweater, the thread you sent in the envelope matched all right. It's definitely off the sweater.
How about the wire cutters?
I'm afraid I got a disappointment for you there, Jace. They couldn't get a match. I'm afraid the murder wire wasn't cut with the tool you sent.
Are you sure, Captain?
The boys in the lab are. They made sample cuts with every millimeter of those blades and couldn't match up a single one with a murder wire.
Oh.
What kind of a fix does that put you in, Jace?
Oh, I'm not sure. Well, thanks, Captain. I'll keep in touch with you.
All right, Jace. Good luck.
I was going to need more than luck. Things were really getting tangled up. It was about 4 a.m. when I finally dozed off trying to dope it out. Then at 8:30, I met the sheriff in his office.
Well, you look like you've been through the ringer, Jace. Hotel bed's too hard for you?
No, but I didn't get much sleep trying to figure this Hawks thing out. Looks like we'll have to let old Tom go, Sheriff.
Why? What's up?
The lab says Tom's cutters didn't cut that wire.
They didn't?
No. Of course, old Tom could have used other cutters, but in his stupor, I doubt if he'd be that clever.
Well, I hate to complicate things more than they are, Jace.
What do you mean?
Coroner called a little while ago. He sent in his report over with one of my deputies. Should have been here by now. His verdict is suicide.
Suicide? That doesn't make sense.
Well, apparently does to him. We'll know when the report gets here.
Yeah. George Hawks, deceased. Climbed up a stepladder, put a wire around his neck, and then placed the ladder neatly under a workbench 12 feet away.
My dusty oil drum snoring things up, Jason.
Considerable.
Morning, Sheriff. Howdy, Ranger.
Hi.
Morning, Joe. Did you get it?
Yep. I had to wait while the coroner signed it. Here it is.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Anything more I can do, Sheriff?
No, not right now.
Well, I'll go get me some breakfast then.
Let's see. No marks of violence on the victim's body. Autopsy disclosed no brain injury. Death probably caused by strangulation. Coroner's conclusion, suicide. Signed G. Parker, coroner. There it is, Jace.
Couldn't be.
Now, here's something from the doctor. I examined the body at 11:30 a.m. It is my opinion the death occurred approximately 3 hours previously.
Hey, wait a minute, Sheriff.
What is it?
That'd make it about 8:30 when George died. What time did you say he called you?
At 9:15. Great suffering.
Sheriff, are you sure it was George who called?
Well, now that you mention it, I'm not sure. Said he was George.
Or could it have been somebody else?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I was beginning to piece together, Sheriff. Whoever it was could have killed George, then called you and tried to sound like him.
To establish an alibi.
Exactly. And then pop up someplace else a few minutes later. Like the White Spot Cafe. I'll call you later.
Where are you going, Chase?
Back to the Hawks Ranch. When I pulled up to the ranch, Brad Johnson was running water into the big trough near the barn.
Well, hi, Ranger. What brings you out this way?
I want to talk to Mrs. Hawks. We're releasing Tom. Coroner's report came in a few minutes ago. Suicide. Is she around?
Why, sure, she's up the house.
Okay. Oh, I just happened to think. Charcoal, my horse here in the trailer, hasn't had a square meal since I left headquarters yesterday. Is there some hay around that I could give him?
Why, sure, Ranger. Some fresh bale just inside the barn there. Help yourself.
Thanks. I'll be glad to pay for it.
No, forget it. I'm sure Mrs. Hawks wouldn't mind.
Oh, have you got something to open one with?
Why, sure. Here. Here's my cutters.
I took the cutters into the barn and made some cuts on a wire sample. After I gave the cutters back to Brad and fed charcoal, I spoke briefly with Mrs. Hawks, and then I tore out for the lab in Austin. By 1 o'clock, I got the results.
Here it is, Jace. Take a look.
The wires match, Johnny?
See for yourself. That dual microscope never lied to me yet. The left one's the murder wire. The one on the right is one of the samples you brought in.
That's it.
Well, look at those striations. It's a perfect match.
Thanks, Johnny. Take care of this stuff. Got to get back to Finney pronto. Oh, will you do me a favor?
Sure, Jace.
Call the sheriff at Finney. Tell him I'm on my way and I got something hot. I'll be there in 2 hours.
Well, Jace, you sure made good time. What'd you find out?
We got positive proof the murder wire was cut with Brad Johnson's cutters.
Brad's? You going to pick him up?
Not right yet, Sheriff.
Why not?
We only know that Brad's cutters were used. We don't know he used them. We got to be sure.
What are your plans, Jace?
I've been thinking. Those stories that Mrs. Hawks and Brad told me, they were alike, all right. Too much alike.
What do you mean?
A couple of times they used the exact phrases.
Mm-hmm. What about Tom and the black thread?
We'll keep an eye on him, but I think he's clean. He could have caught his sleeve on that beam doing anything, pitching hay or anything.
Yeah, he could have. Well, what do we do now?
We got to catch him alone, Brad and Mrs. Hawks. When they don't know anybody's around, we got to hear what they say to each other.
Maybe after the funeral. It's this afternoon, 4 o'clock.
You know where it's being held, Sheriff?
Sure, out of the ranch.
Be a graveside ceremony. Where's the cemetery?
Clear over on the other side of town from the Hawks' place.
Yeah, it'll take them a while to get over there and back. Sheriff, while they're at the cemetery, you and I are going to the ranch and fix up a little surprise. There. That ought to be all right for that one, behind the window shade.
Why 3 microphones, Jace? Wouldn't one do?
Not if they wander around the house while they're talking, Sheriff. I want to hear everything.
Yeah, but how do you know that Brad and Mrs. Hawks will talk? How do you know who'll even come into the house?
I don't know, Sheriff. I'm guessing. And my guess is that after the funeral's over, somebody's going to let his hair down.
Hey, it's almost 5, Jace. They'll be coming back soon.
I'm finished in here, Sheriff. Now all we have to do is string the wire to the stakeout. Come on. We'd hidden my car in a lane down the road and set up our equipment in a clump of trees close to the house. 3 neighbors' cars drove up, then Brad's. We watched him as he fed the stock. About sundown, the last of the guests left the house. There go the last of them, Sheriff. Can you see Brad?
He's been in the barn the last few minutes. There he is, Jace, heading for the house.
Good. Put on your earphones, Sheriff. I want you to hear this, too.
There he goes, up on the porch.
Yeah.
Brad. Oh, Brad.
Ah, come here, baby.
Oh, Brad, I'm so tired and scared.
Ain't nothing to be scared about, baby. Everything worked out fine.
Oh, take me away with you, Brad, now, tonight.
Millie, I can't do that. You know it.
Why not? Why can't you?
Well, the plan, baby. We gotta follow the plan. Now, look, if we went away together now, they'd nab us no time. We gotta let it go off.
Brad, I can't spend another night in this house, not alone. I can keep seeing his face. You holding him. That look of his when I put the pillow over his face, I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
I told you to shut up. Look, I put a lot of hard work on us. Our alibi's got them clear off the trail. I'm not gonna let them get back on, you hear?
All right, Sheriff. I've heard enough. Let's take them. You cover the back, Sheriff. I'll take the front.
Okay, Jace.
All right, in there. Open up. Ranger Pearson, open up.
What do you want?
You know what I want, Brad Johnson.
Oh, he's not here.
I know different. Okay, Sheriff, let's search the house.
All right, Jace.
I don't know what this is all about.
You'll find out.
He's not in the kitchen, Jace.
All right, Sheriff, work this way.
Ranger, what's the meaning of this?
He's
He's not in the back of the house, Jace. Maybe he's... What was that?
He was upstairs, Sheriff. Sounds like he jumped from up there. Come on.
Don't see him. He didn't run for his car.
Couldn't have gone far.
Maybe he hit for the highway. What's that?
Chickens in the barn. Something scared him, and I think I know what. Come on.
If we play this right, we've got him trapped.
I know you're in there, Brad. Come on out. All right.
Dark as pitch in there, Jace.
Turn on your flashlight, Sheriff. Take the other side. I'll look behind those things.
Okay.
Oh! What is it, Sheriff? Pitchfork. Threw it from the loft. He hit me.
You hurt bad?
Don't think so. My shoulder.
Here, give me your flashlight, Sheriff. All right, Brad. I'm coming up.
No, don't come up. I'm coming down.
Come out where we can see you, then. With your hands up.
Jace, he's jumping. Jace, you all right?
Yeah. I fell on his back, hit his head when I hit him.
Is he dead?
No. No, Sheriff, he's not dead. But I can't say he won't be, though, when the state gets through with him.
After Mildred Hawks turned state's witness, Brad Johnson confessed to the murder of his employer. For her part in the crime, Mildred Hawks received a sentence of 50 years in a women's prison at Huntsville. Johnson's sentence, death in the electric chair.
And now, here again is the star of our show, Joel McCrea.
While most of the mail that comes to us here at Tales of the Texas Rangers is written by grown-ups, the youngsters have their questions, too. Tonight, I'd like to read you a postcard from a boy in Newark, New Jersey. It says, Dear Mr. McCrea, I am 9 years old. Me and my friend Tony was talking about being Texas Rangers when we grow up. How do you go about getting that job? Your friend, Tommy Cook. Well, Tommy, a lot of people have asked us that same question recently, and I guess maybe it's high time for us to tell them. First, a ranger has to serve at least 10 years as an outstanding police officer. Then he may compete with others for the job. If he's selected, he works under the wing of a ranger captain for at least 6 months, and then he's put out in the field with other seasoned rangers for a year and a half. By this time, he is, or he isn't, a true Texas Ranger. And Tommy, your card's being sent to Colonel Homer Garrison, Jr., Chief of the Texas Rangers. Good luck. Good night.
Next week, Joel McCrea in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Joel McCrea is currently seen starring in the Universal International Technicolor production Saddle Tramp. Tonight's cast included Tony Barrett, Byron Kane, Betty Lou Gerson, Jeff Corey, and Wally Mayer. This story was transcribed and adapted by Andrew McBroom, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. This is Hal Gibney speaking.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Tuesday nights are bright with comedy on NBC. Start off the evening with Baby Snooks. Hear Fibber McGee and Molly of 79 Wistful Vista listen as Art Linkletter proves that people are funny and laugh with Bob Hope and his gang. It's truly fine entertainment every Tuesday night. So be sure to listen for Baby Snooks, Fibber McGee and Molly, People Are Funny, and Bob Hope.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Joel McCrea in Tales of the Texas Rangers. Tonight, transcribed from Hollywood, another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. files of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McRae as Ranger Jace Pearson. Texas, more than 260,000 square miles, and 50 men who make up the most famous and oldest law enforcement body in North America. From the files of the Texas Rangers come these stories based on fact. Only names, dates, and places are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record. Case for tonight, room 114.
It is 4:47 p.m., the afternoon of October 29th, 1927. Liz Ferris, a chambermaid at the Hotel Alamo in the town of Olympia, Texas, approaches Sam Bixby, the desk clerk.
Mr. Bixby.
Oh, Liz, thought you went home.
Can't see if I'll ever get home till I get the rooms finished. And I still ain't been in room 114.
114? That's Mr. Boland's room. Oh, he went out a couple hours ago.
Well, he left one of them do not disturb cards on his door just the same. His key ain't in the box there. I looked before while you were sorting out the mail.
Oh, well, he probably just forgot to leave his key. You got your pass key. You can get in.
Well, how'd you know he didn't come back again without you seeing him? Suppose he's in there taking a bath.
All right, Liz, all right. Come on. I'll come back with you. Give me the keys.
Some folks don't care at all when I finish work, long as they can sleep the day away.
Now, Liz, Mr. Boland's been here for 2 days, and this is the first time he's give you any trouble.
Well, if it ain't him, it's somebody else. There's that do not disturb card on the door, like I said.
Did you try knocking?
That on the door? Of course I didn't. I got some consideration for other folks, even if they ain't got none for me. Besides, I run the vacuum cleaner in the hall hard enough to wake the dead.
Well, he don't answer the knock. Sure, he went out.
Well, if you're so sure, why don't you open the door then?
You in, Mr. Boland? Mr. Boland? He's out, all right. Go ahead, Liz.
All right, I'll make the bed first, then get the vacuum.
What's the matter?
A man's leg sticking out from under the bed, and there's blood on the rug. Let me out of here.
No, be quiet, Liz. Don't let the other guests hear you. I better call the sheriff right away.
Sheriff James Kerfus reached the murder scene and immediately sent out a request for assistance from the Texas Rangers. Ranger Jace Pearson was assigned to investigate. He joined the sheriff in room 114 of the Alamo Hotel.
Everything just like I found it, Ranger, except I had the bed moved so as I could get a look at the body.
Throat slashed, huh? Looks like it was done with a straight-edge razor, Sheriff.
Yeah. A weapon ain't around any place, so that's what made me figure it was murder for sure.
I could have figured that out even if the razor was around. Palms of his hands are cut, too. He tried to grab the razor and get it away from whoever killed him.
Oh, I see.
We better cover him with this sheet. Austin will have fingerprint man here soon. You know who he is?
The name on the register is Henry Boland. Been here 2 days. Come up from Lone Star to sell some cattle at the auction barn.
All the way up here from Lone Star to auction cattle? That's pretty far.
Now that you mention it, is. Yeah, plenty far.
Who discovered the body?
A desk clerk and cleaning woman. You must have passed him out in the hall. I told him to wait right outside.
Yeah, I saw him. We better talk to him.
Right.
Just trying to clean the
Bixby. Liz, Ranger wants to talk to you.
Oh, sure thing.
I already told you all I know, Sheriff.
Anybody come in to visit in this room today?
Well, that's hard to say, Ranger. A lot of cattlemen in town when the auction's running. Well, nobody stopped by the desk, but you know how it is. Men know each other, visit around.
Sure.
If he'd been out tending his business like a man ought to be, he mightn't be dead. That's what I say.
Now, Liz, I told you he was out. I saw him go.
When was this?
Noon, a little later maybe. But I didn't see him come in again.
Are you sure it was Boland you saw? Might have been somebody dressed like him, wearing his clothes maybe.
Oh, no, I saw him good enough to know for sure. Stopped just a few feet from the desk to wipe his eyeglasses with a handkerchief.
Eyeglasses?
Is something wrong with that, Jace?
I'll tell you in a minute. He wear glasses all the time?
Every time I see
Yeah,
him,
sure
he did.
did.
I see. When you opened this door, most of the body was hidden by the bed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, the bed's been moved since then. I think you better come in and identify the body.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, I'm afraid it's necessary, because the man in here didn't wear glasses.
Oh.
Come on.
Well, okay. Well, now, look, he wouldn't have to be wearing them when he was killed, Jace.
He never wore them. Man who wears glasses all the time has little pressure marks alongside the bridge of his nose. It's a thing we always look for. Helps with identification. Yeah, I'll move the sheet.
What? Well, that ain't Mr. Boland.
No, it ain't.
Well, then who is this fella?
Well, Sheriff, I don't know. I never saw him before. He's a lot different. Mr. Boland not only wore glasses, he had a mustache, and this feller don't.
This couldn't be him clean-shaven?
No, sir, could not.
Looks like Boland isn't our victim, Sheriff. Looks like he's the killer. I made some photos of the dead man, got a quick developing job done, then headed for Lone Star, the town Boland had given us his address. On the way, I called my headquarters and asked to have Ranger Steve Clark meet me there. He was waiting at the county courthouse when I drove up.
Howdy, Jace.
Howdy, Steve. Been waiting long?
No, just got here about half an hour ago. Say, what's up?
Headquarters fill you in on the killing of the Alamo Hotel in Olympia?
Yeah, they told me about it.
Good. How far out's the Boland Ranch?
Well, it begins 9 miles southwest. What do we do, go out and grab Boland?
If he's around, but it isn't likely. Not after checking out of that hotel and leaving a dead man in his room.
Why'd you head this way, then?
Well, nobody at Olympia had seen the dead man before. We gotta find out who he is. If there was bad blood between him and Boland, somebody around here might know about it.
That's a good thought. I'll load my horse in with yours, and we can go out to the ranch and wake him up.
The Boland Ranch was plenty big, spreading and sprawling out south of the main highway. But the ranch house was deserted except for a Mexican woman. She was frightened and wouldn't unlatch the screen door.
We just want to talk to you, ma'am, that's all.
Go away. You come back again when Mr. Boland is here.
We're Texas Rangers. We just want some information from you.
I know nothing, please. You go away.
If Mr. Boland is in there, we'd like to talk to him.
No one is here, senor. No one but me.
It won't do you any good to hide him, ma'am. If he's not there, why can't we come in and look around?
No.
We should have gotten the search warrant, Chase.
Yeah, she's just frightened because she's alone. There ought to be somebody else around a ranch this size. Boland must have hands.
Yeah.
Where are the men, senora? The vaqueros who work on the ranch.
Round up, all out to work, they round up.
All right, senora. You can go back to bed. We'll go talk to them.
Your senora wasn't any too happy to see you, boy.
I know. Well, let's get the horses out of the trailer.
Yeah. You really want to look for those cowpokes tonight?
Yeah, because we got plenty of other things to do in the morning. Come on, Charcoal.
Hot boy. Come on. What's on your mind for the morning?
Find out where Boland banks. Watch his account so we can trace him if he cashes a check anyplace.
Hey, it'll make it tougher for him to hide, all right.
That's how I want to make it. Tough. Well, let's ride.
Yeah.
Get up.
Charcoal.
Get up.
Get up.
Ha,
Boland had plenty of stock, all right. We passed cows and calves by the score. But ground marks showed that the main herds, the selling beef, were driving south.
Railroad runs to the south, Jace. Guess they're moving them that way for shipping.
Figures. That's why we had to ride so far.
Yeah, must take them 3 or 4 days to cut out the steers and drive them to a main camp.
We ought to be spotting some riders soon. Trail marks have been getting fresher.
And if we don't, we're going to have to rest these ponies. We've been knocking on them steady now for about
That's
3...
all right. We're getting close. They can rest soon. Look.
Where?
Mesa over there in the moonlight. Look down at the base. On the east end.
Yeah, campfire.
Come on, Charlie.
Come on, boy. Get up.
Can see the stock now, only part of the herd from the looks of it.
Probably got a few folks working each section driving into the railhead from different angles.
They can drive them any way they want. All I want is somebody who can identify the photographs of a dead man.
Campfire there, all right, Jace. Nobody around it. That's kind of funny, isn't it?
Fire must have been made by cowpokes. They gotta be around.
Horses couldn't move far if they were hobbled, but there ain't any horses in sight either. Nothing but part of the herd.
Maybe they moved around the other side of the mesa. Whoa, Charcoal.
Where'd that shot come from, Jace?
Clump of brush and rock at the edge of the mesa. Whoa, easy, boy.
You fellas!
Hold it.
Wherever you are! Come up where we can see you and keep your hands high!
Not while you're gunning from cover. Who are you?
Ranch hands with the right to be here. That's more than you got. What are you doing on this range?
We're Texas Rangers.
Rangers? And after Rangers, let's get a look at you.
Come on, Car. Yeah. Oh, Charcoal. Oh, boy. Now move out of that brush where we can see you.
Okay.
Come on, fella. We better get off our horses, Jace. Make too good a target for them.
Yeah.
Well, reckon y'all Rangers, all right. My name's Frank Tuller. This Charlie Small.
Never mind the introductions, Tuller. You always throw lead at anybody riding this range?
I fired over your head. Just a warning.
A warning for what?
That's orders, Ranger. Somebody's been making off with some stock, and Boland told us to be on the lookout for strange riders.
Boland? He around?
No.
When'd you see him last?
Just before we started out on Roundup. Tuller and I ain't seen anybody but each other for almost a week.
And you don't have any idea where your boss might be?
How would we know? Hey, you seem mighty anxious to find him.
I am mighty anxious.
Yeah, the boss in some kind of trouble?
He's in plenty of trouble.
We'll find it out sooner or later. Yeah. He's wanted for murdering a man in a hotel in Olympia. So if you know where he is or even where he might be, you better talk up.
Well, if we knew, we'd tell you right off, but we don't.
Know anybody Boland's been having trouble with?
Nope.
No, boss never had trouble with nobody.
There's a dead man who'd disagree with that if he could. Get those photos out of your saddlebag, will you, Steve?
Right.
Maybe you can identify the man Boland killed.
Here you are, Jace.
Thanks. Here, Tuller, you too, Small.
Huh?
Take a look.
What, say?
Ranger, Boland never killed this man.
What makes you so sure of that?
Because this is the boss. This is a picture of Boland himself.
You are listening to Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. We continue now with tonight's case, Room 114, an authentic story from the files of the Texas Rangers.
We had our killer cold, knew his name, his address, and he turned out to be the dead man. The case fell apart. It didn't make sense.
You're sure this is a photo of Boland?
We ought to know. We've been working for him for a year, ever since he come down from Wyoming and bought this spread.
The desk clerk at the hotel in Olympia said he'd never seen this man before.
I can't have that.
But Boland was registered at that hotel for 2 days. The clerk said he wore eyeglasses and a mustache.
Then the man he saw wasn't Henry Boland.
There's something fishy about this whole thing, Jace. I can't figure why anybody...
Wait a minute, Steve.
Huh?
You fellas said Boland thought somebody was running his stock off?
Yeah, that's right.
Is his brand registered?
Well, sure it is. Box B brand.
Thanks. If we want any more information, we'll be out to see you later. Come on, Steve.
But, Jace,
Come on. Get mounted.
Get up.
Charcoal.
Get up. Come on.
Hope you catch the men you after.
Thanks.
What's on your mind, Jace? What'd you ask about the missing cattle and the brand registration?
Boland thought some of his cattle were missing. With the registered brand, stolen cattle are hard to get rid of. It wouldn't be so hard if a thief took them to an out-of-the-way auction barn like the one in Olympia and then pretended to be Boland when he sold them.
Hey, Jace, that makes sense.
Sure it does. That's why somebody registered the Alamo under Boland's name.
Then Boland must have found out about it, went up to Olympia for his showdown, and got himself killed.
That's the picture.
I'll buy it, Jace, but who killed him?
That's something we're going to have to find out. But whoever it was somebody Boland knew, or he wouldn't have been able to follow him to that hotel room.
Then if the cattle were stolen from here by somebody Boland knew, and Boland hadn't been here very long, the thief might have been one of his own ranch hands.
We'll play it that way, Steve. Let's stick around here and see if we can find a poke with a mustache and eyeglasses. During the next morning, we spotted a pair of riders and asked if they knew of a hand with a mustache and glasses. There was such a man on the ranch, and they told us what general direction he might be working in. A couple of hours later, we found him alone, pushing some strays out of a blind draw.
That's him, Jace. Just saw the sun reflect on his glasses.
Let's go.
Get up, Charlie. Yeah,
You! Stay right where you are.
Don't move for that rifle holster.
Ooh, we'll ask the questions.
Mustache, too, Jace.
Yeah. Just sit tight on that horse until I get your rifle.
Now, look, Ranger. When you come riding down on me like I done something and grab my gun, I reckon I got a right to know what it's all about.
You been at the Alamo Hotel in Olympia recently?
Never been in Olympia in my whole life.
Where you been for the past 4 days?
Right here on this range working.
Anybody with you?
No, just me.
How come? The other hands are working in 2s and 3s?
Well, I ain't. I've been working through this Badlands strip. No herding here. Nothing but a few strays a one man can dig out. That's how it come.
Anybody seen you here in the last couple of days?
How could anybody see me? I've been way back in that scrub canyon.
Yeah. If nobody saw you there, nobody'd see you if you weren't there either. What's your name?
Dave Bouden.
Bouden, huh? All right, you better come with us.
Come with you? For what? I ain't coming any place.
I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. Somebody murdered your boss, Henry Boland, up in Olympia yesterday.
Murdered Hank Boland?
That's right. The description of the killer fits you.
What? Well, you're crazy. I've been right here, I tell you.
Tell me anything you want. But you're coming to Olympia. I want a couple of people to get a look at you. We got back to the car and drove Dave Bouden to the sheriff's office in Olympia to see if he could be identified.
Ranger, I'm telling you, I ain't never been near this town.
If you haven't been here, you got nothing to worry about.
Did you send for the chambermaid and the desk clerk, Sheriff?
Yeah, they'll be here right off.
Thanks.
As a matter of fact, there they come now, up the outside steps. See them through the window?
Ranger, I'm telling you...
You better not say anything just now, Bouden.
Come in.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Reckon you remember the ranger here?
Ain't likely we'd forget him after seeing him only yesterday.
Liz, Mr. Bixby, I want you to meet Mr. Bouden.
Hot.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Doesn't seem like you've ever met Mr. Bouden before. I thought maybe you had.
Nope. Can't say I ever had the pleasure.
Me neither. Although for a minute he did look like...
Like who?
Now listen, lady, you never...
Quiet, Bouden.
Lions, what's everybody getting excited about? I was just going to say he looked like Sarah Leamy's old beau, the one that run off when everybody expected they was going to get married.
All right, Liz, all right.
Thanks, Liz, Mr. Bixby. We just wanted to be sure that this man wasn't the one who was registered under the name of Henry Boland.
Oh, I see. Oh, no, nothing like him. Except for the eyeglasses and the mustache.
Yeah, I guess we might as well let these folks go back to the hotel, Jason.
Yeah, looks like you were telling the truth, Bouden. I'm sorry.
No harm done, Ranger. No way you could have known.
Jace, I've been thinking. You suppose mustache and eyeglasses might have been a disguise to throw us off?
That's a thought, Sheriff. It's been done before.
Well, that ain't the way it was this time, Ranger.
Why not, Bixby?
Well, them glasses may have been fake, but not the mustache. Man you're after had a real mustache. I know, 'cause I seen him in the barber shop, and the barber trimmed it.
We put Bouden on the bus to Lone Star and sent him back to the Boland Ranch. Clark and I spent the next day questioning everybody in Olympia. The crew at the auction barn, cattlemen, everybody. They couldn't add a thing to what we already knew. When we got back to the sheriff's office, there was more bad news.
Had a call from your headquarters at Austin, Jace. They checked those prints the lab crew lifted from 114. Whoever left them had no record.
Yeah, that does it.
I still think it must have been somebody from Boland's ranch, somebody he knew.
That's what we think, and that's the way it looks. But let's face it, Jace. Could have been a stranger stole the cattle. Boland found out about it, went in for a showdown like any hothead, and got himself killed. Killer could have come in from any direction and left in any direction.
Yeah, that's right, Jace. No way you're telling... Come in.
Howdy, Sheriff. Rangers.
Yeah. Something we can do for you?
Well, my name is Denning. I drive a line haul for interstate trucking. Route between New Orleans and El Paso. I think I got some information you might want. Leastwise, I thought so over at the Alamo Hotel.
What kind of information?
This? Key to room 114, the Alamo.
Where'd you get this?
Well, it was nightfall last.
Night of the day Bolden was killed, Jace.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. My relief man was driving. We made a coffee stop, place about 40 miles this side of Lone Star. Pulled the truck in the side of the service station there. I was sleeping, didn't want no coffee, so I stayed in the cab and dozed while a relief man went inside.
I got it. Go on.
Well, cattle truck pulled in for gas. Well, empty.
Empty cattle truck, huh? Headed which way?
Southwest, toward Lone Star.
You notice the license?
Well, no, but there was a mark on the side, box with a B in the middle of it.
Boland's Box B brand, Jace. Must have been the truck used to haul the stolen cattle up here.
Yeah, and to haul the killer back to the ranch. What about the key?
I was coming to that. Fell in the cattle truck. He paid for the gas. I didn't see him too good. I was just sort of slumped in my cab, half groggy, not exactly watching him, but seeing.
I know what you mean.
Well, when he fished the money out of his pocket, I saw him kind of look at something he dug out with it. Then he sort of looked around like he was looking for some place to throw it. Station man left him to go inside for change. Then the fellow walked right past my truck real quick. He didn't see me, of course, because the cab was dark, and I heard him throw something. Make kind of a clink. Then he went back to the cattle rig and drove off.
Just what he threw away, this hotel key here?
That's it. I found it when my partner came out. We went back to check the top and the tailgate, and I sort of looked around and found the key with my flash.
How come you didn't just drop it in a mailbox?
Well, we had a lot of stops along the line, loading, unloading. And the route came right through here. Thought I'd stop in, just drop it off. Information help you any?
It sure does. Thanks. My headquarters will see to it your boss hears about it, too. Sheriff, better take down his statement.
Okay, Jeeves.
Come on, Steve. See you later.
All right, Jeeves.
Heading back for Lone Star?
As fast as the wheels will turn. Pile in.
Yeah. How are we going to narrow it down, Jace? Boudin was the only hand with a mustache and the glasses, and he's clear.
Glasses still could have been phony. Some the killer wore only while he was in Olympia.
We know the mustache wasn't a phony.
Boland's hands have been on Roundup for a couple of weeks. A lot of them let their beards grow. Would have been a simple matter to shave the beard and leave a lip cover. Sneak away with a load of cattle and then shave clean before he got back.
I know, but Boudin wasn't the only hand working alone. One of the others did it and disappeared for a few days. His sidekick know about it.
Doesn't have to be a one-man job, Steve. The sidekick could be in on it, too.
Yeah, that figures. Well, what's our play, Jace? Fingerprint them all and get a check on the prints up at Austin?
I think we can wrap it up quicker than that. We know the killer doesn't have a beard now and uses a straight razor. That was the murder weapon.
Yeah.
Boudin can tell us which of the men shave with straight razors, and once we know that, we can settle the rest with a camera I got in the car trunk.
How?
By asking the straight razor men if they'd like to pose for a couple of identification pictures with eyeglasses and a phony mustache. Tell them we'll have to hold them until the pictures are seen by a couple of witnesses in Olympia.
That ought to flush some action from them.
Action? I'm betting the man who killed Boland will raise more fuss than the alligator when the lake went dry. Got back to Lone Star just in time. The bank had taken over the management of Boland's ranch as executors, and the roundup was just about complete. Last the herd was being driven into the stock pens near the railroad siding when we reached the south end of the ranch.
There's Boudin, Jace. Taking care of the horses over there by the corral.
Yeah, come on.
Hey, Boudin! Hey, Boudin! Yeah?
I want to talk to you a minute.
Oh, Ranger. How you making out?
I'll make out fine if you will help. Pretty sure it was somebody on the ranch who killed your boss.
Well, how can I help you?
Just tell me which of the pokes use straight razors for shaving.
Well, let's see. Jones, and Tuller, and Happy.
Tuller, huh?
Say, Jace, isn't he the bright boy that fired on us first time we rode out on the range?
He's the one, all right. He was clean shaven, too. The fella with him was named Small. You know where they are, Boudin?
Well, it was over there a minute ago, driving the last...
Oh, here they come now, Jace, around the end of the corral with their horses. Hey, you better drift away, Boudin.
Sure thing.
Well, howdy, Rangers. Back again?
Yeah. Like to have another talk with you, Tuller. You too, Small.
Sure, Ranger. What's it about?
Make you wait till you dismount.
Right.
What do you want?
Yeah. Find out who killed Boland?
We're pretty sure it's one of the hands. All you fellas without beards are going in with us.
What for? Why? Yeah. What would that prove?
Prove plenty when we get what we want. Take photos of all of you with prop eyeglasses and mustache on you. couple of people in Olympia want to see him.
Well, if they think they recognize somebody, that ain't legal evidence.
We'll have something to help it along. We'll fingerprint the man they think they saw because Boland's killer left his prints all over that hotel room.
Ranger, it warned me.
Shut up.
Huh?
I helped steal the cattle, that's all. I didn't go to Olympia, he did.
I told you to shut up, you rat.
All right, Tuller. You can both. Tuller lashed his horse and dove behind the other mounts at the rack. The frightened animal reared over us and knocked Small into me before Clark could grab the bridle.
Oh, keep your eye on Small, Steve. I'm going after Tuller.
He jumped the fence into the cattle chute, Ranger.
Don't let him ambush you from there, James. I'll climb up and get him from above.
Look out.
You better stay flat up there, Ranger. I can see you better than you can see me.
You got yourself in a trap, Tuller.
Yeah? I'll have you in one if you come down after me.
I don't have to come down after you. You're a dead pigeon in that cattle chute.
Don't you believe it, Ranger?
No. That shot you fired's already got the cattle stirred up. Hey, you men down in the pen.
Go.
Open the gate so the herd can move into the chute.
Good! Give me more cover!
Yeah, cover you won't like. If they open that gate and I fire into the herd, they'll run you down. You'll get tromped to death. All right, boys, open up the gate. I'm not fooling, Tuller. I'll fire into them.
No, come on. Here's my gun.
All right, and climb up on the fence.
All right, Ranger. All right, I'm coming.
Now, here, give me your arm. I'll pull you out of there.
Good, Ranger, okay. Don't let me drop now.
I don't want to make no trouble, Ranger. I made a mistake, I admit it.
You made a big mistake, Tuller. Too bad you didn't use that razor strictly for shaving. Go on.
For his part in the crime, Charles Small received a sentence of 25 years. Frank Tuller was tried and convicted for the murder of rancher Henry Boland. Today, after 2 decades, he still serves his sentence. Life imprisonment.
And now, here again is the star of our show, Joel McCrea.
Reflecting on the old-time one riot, one ranger reputation of the Texas Rangers, a visitor to Texas recently mentioned to a ranger that he'd been noticing a number of current press reports where 2 rangers had participated in the quelling of a riot or investigation of a crime. After citing this observance to the ranger, the man asked, "How come 2 men are being assigned to some of these cases now? Are the rangers less effective than they used to be?" The lanky ranger shook his head. "Oh, no," he said. "1 ranger is still sufficient to handle the situation, all right, but in these days of complex legal technicalities, we've been sending 2 of them along. One to take care of what trouble there is, and the other one to serve as a sort of a disinterested witness." Good night, folks. See you next week.
Next week, Joel McCrea in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Joel McCrea is currently seen starring in the MGM production Stars in My Crown. Tonight's cast included Tony Barrett, Ann Diamond, Herb Vigran, Peggy Weber, Tom McKee, Bill Johnstone, Herb Ellis, and Barney Phillips. This story was transcribed and adapted by Joel Murcott, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. This is Hal Gibney speaking.
3 chimes mean good times on NBC. Monday chimes mean the best in music on NBC. Tomorrow night, Gordon MacRae stars in the Railroad Hour presentation of the operetta The Firefly. The NBC Symphony presents a 1-hour concert featuring works by Vivaldi, Wagner, and Stravinsky. Tomorrow's NBC Symphony concert marks the first in a series under the baton of the widely acclaimed young conductor Guido Cantelli. Now, the $64 question. 3 chimes mean good times on NBC. Before we bring you tonight's Tales of the Texas Rangers, here's a Christmas message all of us associated with this program would like you to hear. Christmas is just 2 weeks away. And unless everybody helps in his own city or town, there are some less fortunate children who will not receive Christmas gifts. Let's everyone join your local groups and give a thing for kids for Christmas. In your town, there are one or more agencies collecting toys for less fortunate children. Do your part and contribute the things you can. Thank you.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Joel McCrea in Tales of the Texas Rangers. Tonight, transcribed from Hollywood, another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. Texas, more than 260,000 square miles, and 50 men who make up the most famous and oldest law enforcement body in North America. Now, from the files of the Texas Rangers come these stories based on fact. Only names, dates, and places are fictitious for obvious reasons. The events themselves are a matter of record. Case for tonight, the Lucky Dollar.
It is 7:30 of a simmering hot night, August 14th, 1945. In a small South Texas town not far from Corpus Christi, Joe Barry is counting up the day's receipts of his modest store. His wife, Clara, is locking up in back.
15's down. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. What the?
Joseph, well, what's happened to the lights? I'm not through back here.
Well, I didn't turn them off, Ma. One of the fuses must have blown.
You think it could be the refrigerator again?
No, I just put in a whole new unit, didn't I? Hey, you just stay where you are, Claire. I'll get my flashlight here and see what the trouble is.
Be careful, Joseph.
And don't worry, honey. I'll be careful. Let's see what we got here now. All these fuses look good.
Joseph?
Everything seems all right in here, Ma. Must be in the main switch box. I'll take a look outside. Well, I'll be done. Main switch is pulled. Now, who in thunder...
Hold everything, Pop.
Huh?
Keep your back to me and give me a flashlight.
What? Who are you?
Never mind.
Now, hold up. Nobody's going to hold up Joe Barry. Wait.
I'll call you a fool. Old fool.
Didn't you find the trouble, Joseph? Joseph? Joseph, what on earth you doing trying to count up here with so little... Here now, Joseph. What are you doing?
Keep away, old woman.
Joseph! Get away from that cash register.
Shut up! Crazy old bat.
When Joseph Barry regained consciousness, he staggered to the phone and called Sheriff Jennings, who, in turn, requested help from the Texas Rangers. Ranger Jace Pearson was at the scene of the crime a short time later.
It's just like Barry said, Sheriff. The thief pulled his master switch outside the store to draw out the storekeeper.
And he must have thought Joe was alone in the store.
Sure he did. Too bad he wasn't. Mrs. Barry'd be alive now. Well, let's go inside again, Sheriff. I'd like to ask Barry a few more questions.
You know, Jace, this is mighty like another holdup we had in this area just a week ago.
Yeah?
Liquor store. No gunplay, but otherwise just the same. Main switch pulled. Owner went out to check the fuses. Was slugged.
Nobody saw the thief?
Nobody, but it could be the same guy.
Could be. Mr. Barry.
Yes, Ranger? Find anything more?
Maybe. I know this is hard on you, but I'd like to ask a few more questions.
Go right ahead, Ranger. Ask all you want. I'll do anything to catch the devil that murdered my wife.
I know. You're sure you didn't get a good look at the burglar? Something you could remember as identification?
No, sir. He came up on me out of nowhere. No sound, nothing, until he spoke. Then we fought. But that voice... I'd remember that whispering voice anywhere.
He spoke. You didn't mention that before, Joe.
Didn't I? It's kind of hard to think right now, Sheriff. With poor Clara.
What'd the burglar say, Mr. Barry?
Oh, not much, Ranger. But I'd know that voice. I'd know it all right.
Well, go on. Try to remember it, word for word.
He said, hold everything, Pop. Keep your back to me and hand over your flashlight. And then when I fought him, let go, you old fool. That's all. He hit me, and the next thing I knew, I saw Clara.
It's all right, Mr. Barry. I won't ask you to talk much more now, but would you mind coming over to the cash register for a minute?
Sure. I'll come with you. There was so little in the till, Ranger. Only $45 it was. $45 for my Clara.
Look here, Mr. Barry. Can you tell me about this piece of adhesive stuck on the front of the register? Looks like something was pasted here.
It was, Ranger. That murdering skunk even took the first dollar this store ever made. My lucky dollar.
Lucky dollar?
Yeah. Had it stuck up there on the register with a couple of pieces of adhesive tape. He took it.
Not all of it, Mr. Barry. Look here. A corner of the bill is still stuck under this piece of adhesive. Must have torn off when he grabbed it.
That's not much to go on, Jace.
It's a start, Sheriff. A dollar bill that matches this torn corner and the bullets from Mrs. Barry's body.
Clara.
How can we help him, Jace?
And best thing for him is some rest, Sheriff. I'll leave it to you.
All right. What about you?
I'm hoping we can pick up some fingerprints on the register here and from the outside switch box. I'll radio the lab crew to fly down here, and we'll see what they can find. Meantime, we'll notify all banks to be on the lookout for a sticky dollar bill with one corner missing. The lab crew came in from Austin and gathered all evidence. By the next day, I had a report from Captain Stinson.
On that Berry robbery and homicide, Jace.
Yeah, Captain. Any make on the bullets or prints?
Nothing on the bullets. All we know is that they're from a .32. But on the prints, that's another thing. The lab dug up something interesting.
What's that?
No direct prints, Jace, but the thief wore cotton gloves. There's an imperfection in the weave of the left thumb.
There's not a lot to go on, Captain.
I know it, Jace. You got any more leads?
Not exactly, but we don't think it was done by somebody just passing through.
No, why not?
Because Sheriff Jennings had a similar robbery in this area last week with the same M.O. Pulled the switch and worked in the dark.
A lot of people down there with the cotton season in full swing, aren't there?
Swarms of them.
Reckon it could be a cotton worker?
It's hard to say.
Well, if it is, you've got a big territory to cover, Jace.
Well, I got an old dollar bill working for me, too, Captain.
Yes. And by the way, Jace, all the banks in your territory will have blow-ups of the torn corner of that bill by morning.
Good. I guess all we can do now, Captain, is sweat it out and wait for that dollar bill to pay off. Captain Stinson made good his promise. By next morning, every bank in the area had a description of the missing lucky dollar and photos of the torn corner. 3 days went by. Then, on the 19th of August, a man walked into State Bank.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Money. Here is money to pay for the loan on my house.
Oh, we have a loan on your house?
Si.
Your name, please.
Ramos. Juan Ramos.
Oh, I'll get your records, Mr. Ramos.
What is wrong, senor?
This dollar bill you gave me, the corner's torn away.
But it's good. The dollar is good, no?
Oh, sure, but just a minute, please.
Oh, okay.
Hello, operator. Get me the sheriff's office.
Sheriff's office, Jenny speaking.
Hello, Sheriff. This is Jim Loftus over at the bank.
Oh, yes, Jim. What can I do for you?
Fella just came in the bank and handed me that dollar you're looking for.
He did?
Yeah. Fella by the name of Juan Ramos. He's here now.
I say, hold on a minute.
What's up, Sheriff?
Man by the name of Ramos just passed a dollar at the bank that answers the description of the lucky dollar we've been looking for. He's still there.
Tell him to stall him. We'll be right over.
Hello, Jim.
Yeah, Sheriff.
We're coming right over, and don't let that Ramos get away.
This is the missing lucky dollar, all right, Sheriff. See how it matches?
But I swear to you, Ranger, I do nothing wrong. I come to the bank to make payment for my house.
Where'd you get this dollar, Ramos?
Well, I earn it, Ranger. Quien sabe where it come from? One day I work one place, one day another place. Who knows where I get paid the dollar?
Where was your last job?
Well, I worked 4 or 5 days for Mr. Larson, Sheriff. You know, across the tracks.
Larson?
Odie Larson runs a sort of swap shop in the Mexican settlement, Jace. It's a dump, but Odie does a pretty good business.
Let's go see Mr. Larson, then. Maybe he'll be able to tell us something about Ramos and the lucky dollar.
Tell him, Mr. Larson.
Sure, Ramos worked for me, Ranger, but only for a few days.
Mr. Larson, look carefully at this dollar.
What about it?
Ever see it before?
How do I know, Ranger? A dollar's a dollar, ain't it?
Not always. Feel this one, for instance.
Kind of sticky.
And the edge is torn.
Try to remember, Odie. It's very important. To you.
To me?
An old lady was shot down, killed, by someone who stole this particular dollar.
An old lady? That dollar come from someone who...
No. I didn't do it, Ranger. I earned the dollar here from Mr. Larson.
Take it easy, Ramos.
Say, maybe I do remember this dollar, Ranger.
You do?
And it seems to me a little Mexican girl give it to me. Sure, I remember because it stuck to the other money she gave me.
Know where we can find her?
I think she works at one of the cotton farms near here, Sheriff. I don't know for sure, but she gave me this dollar and 2 more to pay down on a red silk dress. Yeah, I'll show you. It's in the back room.
Never mind that, Mr. Larson. Just when did she pay you on the dress?
Just last evening, Ranger. Yeah, I keep open at night for the workers, the cotton pickers. I paid off Ramos when we closed up. Must have given him that sticky buck along with the rest of his pay.
I told you, Mr. Larson give me that dollar.
Did the girl say when she'd be back for a dress?
Today.
You've never seen the girl before, Mr. Larson? You don't know her name or where she lives?
No.
Didn't you give her some kind of receipt for her deposit?
Oh, sure, but just for the $3. When she brings in the receipt and the rest of the money, she gets the dress. Don't need a name and address for that.
What do you think, Chief?
I think we'll wait for the lady, Sheriff. Meantime, Ramos.
See you, Ranger.
Stick around town. I may want to talk to you again.
See you, Ranger. Gracias.
Now, Mr. Larson, you mind if we wait for the girl in the back room?
Of course not, Ranger. Just come this way. It ain't much to look at. All this junk piled in here, but make yourselves comfortable as you can.
Don't worry about us, Mr. Larson. Just go on about your business as if we weren't here. When the girl comes in, let us know.
You can depend on that, Ranger. I will.
Jace, do you reckon Odie's telling us the truth?
I don't know, Sheriff. We ought to find out pretty soon. I got a hunch that lucky dollar's going to hit the jackpot.
You are listening to Tales of the Texas Rangers, starring Joel McCrea as Ranger Jace Pearson. We continue now with tonight's case, The Lucky Dollar, an authentic story from the files of the Texas Rangers.
We waited in the back room for some time. Larson had a good trade, plenty of customers, but nobody wanting a red silk dress. Then about an hour later, a Mexican girl walked into the store.
Hello. I come for my dress. You know that red dress?
Jeez, easy, Sheriff.
Yeah, sure, I remember. Got the rest of the money?
See, here you are.
$6. Yep, that's right. Now, you wait here now, and I'll go get the dress.
It's her, Ranger.
Come on, Sheriff. You, young lady.
Me? What is it, Ranger?
You mind telling me your name, where you live?
My name is Judah Marsalis. I live right now at Mr. Compton's farm. I pick cotton. My whole family works there. My mother, father, brothers.
Prescott Compton. I know him, Jace. Owns one of the biggest farms in these parts.
When does he pay his pickers, Sheriff?
Like the rest. Once a week. Saturdays.
What's wrong? Why you ask this question?
Because you paid this dollar down on a dress last night, Cheetah. It's a dollar we've been looking for.
This dollar?
Yeah, where'd you get it?
From my pay I get for working in the fields picking cotton.
If you're a picker, how come you're off work at this time of day?
I want to get my new dress. I ride into town in one of the trucks.
You can walk off your job anytime you feel like it, Cheetah.
It's my business.
You're wrong there, young lady. It's plenty of our business when you pass a stolen dollar.
Stolen?
Come on. You're going back to the Compton farm with us. Sheriff Jennings and I drove Cheetah Marsalis back to the Compton farm. The girl had her new red dress, but it didn't seem to make her happy. We found Prescott Compton at one of the trucks near the main house, weighing the cotton his pickers were bringing in.
And that's Compton right over there.
2.5 pounds, Pedro. Okay, I'll credit that to your account. Dump off.
Miss Compton.
Mr. Compton. Well, howdy, Sheriff.
This is Ranger Pearson. We'd like to talk to you.
Of course.
Does this girl work for you, Mr. Compton?
Cheetah? Well, sure she does, Ranger. The whole Marsalis family works for me. They're fine people. Hey, what are you doing away from the fields, Cheetah? You haven't gotten yourself in any trouble, have you?
I've done nothing, Mr. Compton.
She passed this dollar bill that was stolen in a robbery and killing 4 days ago, Mr. Compton. Cheetah can't seem to remember where she got it unless it was from you.
Not from me, she didn't. That robbery was 4 days ago. I pay off on Saturdays, Ranger. Where a whole family is hired, like the Marsalis, I pay the head of the family. In this case, the father. Let's see that dollar, Ranger.
Here you are.
No, sir. I didn't get this from me. I'd swear it. I've been paying my pickers off with new bills.
New bills?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cheetah?
I didn't do anything wrong, Ranger. I don't know where that dollar came from.
Well, we'll soon settle this, Ranger. Cheetah's brother is working right close here.
Carlos.
Carlos!
Oh, no.
Oh, Carlos!
Please.
Hey.
No.
Come over here a minute, boy.
Sí, senor, sí. Un momentito, amigo. Sí, senor. What do you want? Cheetah, where you been? Papa look everywhere for you.
Ranger here wants to ask some questions, Carlos, about some money your sister has. There's been a little trouble.
Trouble? Trouble with Cheetah? What you done?
Did your father give her any spending money, Carlos?
Hey, Papa give us all a little. See, Ranger, see. 50, maybe 75 cents.
And he never give Cheetah as much as $8 or $9 at a time, huh?
Oh, no, senor, never. Cheetah never had that much.
Any idea where she might have gotten it?
I can guess. From Dandy Bird.
Carlos.
From who?
Dandy Bird.
Donald, Dandy Bird, has worked for me for over a year, Ranger. Trustworthy, so far as I know. Except he fancies himself sort of a ladies' man, I reckon.
No, it's not so.
Cheetah.
What do you want?
Did Donald Bird give you this dollar?
No, I tell you, I don't know where I get that dollar.
Then you lie, Cheetah.
Hey, take it easy, Marsalis.
You should go get the money from no other place, senor. Then from this Dandy. And no sister of mine going to take money from a man like that.
Where does Bird work, Mr. Compton?
Well, Carlos can take you right to his truck, Ranger.
See, you better show you the way, Ranger. And you, little sister, you pick your cotton here close to the house where I can keep an eye on you when we come back with your fine Dandy.
I hate you. I hate everybody.
Come on, Sheriff. Carlos, let's get started for Bird's truck. Carlos Marsalis directed us along the road through the cotton fields to where Donald Bird had been working. A trailer was there, but the truck was nowhere in sight.
Hey, that's strange, senor. I know he was working here. Hey, Sam, come over here a minute, huh?
Come right over, boy.
Maybe he moved to another part of the field.
No, I don't think so, Sheriff.
What do you want, Carlos?
Where's Dandy Bird? This ranger here want him.
What, Dandy drove out of the fields 3 or 4 hours ago, Mr. Ranger. He had full load.
He's in town?
He sure is, boss, at the cotton gin.
Is Dandy get himself some kind of trouble? I'm going to make him plenty trouble if he don't leave Cheetah alone.
Your sister? Well, she drove into town with Dandy.
She did.
And she lied to us twice, Sheriff. Bird was at the gin when she came to the store for her dress.
Sure he was.
Thanks for the information, Sam.
Oh, glad I can help, Mr. Ranger.
Carlos.
Si, senor.
Can you give us a good description of Dandy Bird?
Si. He is about as tall as the sheriff.
That makes him 5'10".
He's thin, blonde.
Color eyes?
Blue. Pale blue. Cold like a snake's eyes.
No scars, no distinguishing marks?
No, senor. Only he is always dressed up, even in a truck at work. He dresses fancy. That's why they call him Dandy.
That's a pretty good description, Jace. Shouldn't be hard to pick him out in the crowd.
Oh, please, Ranger, let me go with you to town. Eh?
No. You can do more good back at the farm, Carlos. I'll drop you there. You keep an eye on your sister until we contact you again.
Bueno, senor.
We'll head back for town, Sheriff. We'll pick up Dandy at the Cotton Gin. big lineup of trucks at the Cottage Inn, but we didn't see any driver that answered Dandy's description. Sheriff Jennings and I went up to the loading platform and headed for the superintendent's office.
Here we are, Jane.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Ranger Pearson would like some information, Mr. Collins.
Why, sure. Come on in my office so we can hear ourselves talk. There. Have a chair, gentlemen. Now, how can I help you?
You know most of the drivers by sight, don't you, Mr. Collins?
I'd say so, Ranger. The regulars, anyway. But there's a heavy crop this year. You saw the line of trucks outside. Well, there's lots of new drivers.
The man we want is regular, Mr. Collins. Works for Press Compton.
Man's name is Donald or Dandy Bird.
Dandy? Why, sure, I know him. Funny, you should ask for him, too.
Oh, somebody else wanted him?
Yeah, phone call came in here about half hour ago.
Phone call?
Mm-hmm. I went out on the platform and gave a yell. Dandy moved up close to the head of the line, and he climbed out and came back in the office with me.
Then you heard the conversation?
What there was of it, Ranger. I wasn't paying much attention. But seems to me he did say something about meeting somebody at the same place tonight. Then he hightailed out of here, and I haven't seen him since.
You any idea where he went?
No, and I wish I did. Left the truck standing, blocking the whole line. You're looking for Dandy Bird, Ranger. I'd like to get my hands on him myself.
Well, thanks, Mr. Collins. Oh, one thing more. Do you know who called Bird on the phone?
I know. Sounded like some little Mexican gal.
I left Sheriff Jennings scouring the town for Bird while I went back to the Compton farm to have a talk with Cheetah. We didn't have much time. It was getting dark. As I turned off the highway onto the Compton Road, I saw Carlos Marsalis running toward me.
Ranger Pearson.
Yeah, what is it, Carlos?
Cheetah, senor. She's gone.
What? I thought I told you to keep an eye on her.
I did, senor. But she went into a shock and I wait. But when she don't come out, I go in, and Cheetah's gone. Her clothes, everything. Then I look out the window. I see her stopping the bus. I run after her, but it's no use. The bus was gone.
A bus? Past me coming down here. Pile in, Carlos. We'll follow it. Carlos Marsalis and I followed that bus for 18 miles. Then we saw Cheetah get off in a town that wasn't more than a whistle stop. She went into a dingy beer joint. It was small, but plenty noisy. Parked the car where it wouldn't be noticed, and we sat there for almost an hour.
Why should my sister go into a place like that?
I hope it's because of Dandy. I hope he shows up.
I'm going to kill him.
Leave that to the state, Carlos. You'll get what's coming to him.
See, but just to sit here, Ranger, doing nothing.
Here, wait a minute. Look, going into the cantina now.
Huh?
Is that Bird?
See, that's him, Ranger. Let me go, huh?
No. You stay here, Carlos. And I mean it.
See, Ranger, whatever you say.
Can I buy a beer, baby?
Dandy. Oh, Dandy, darling. I was so afraid you wouldn't come.
I told you I wouldn't on the phone, didn't I?
You see, you did. But I was so frightened. First that ranger. Then I had a big fight with my family. Carlos even hit me.
Poor kid.
I leave them, Dandy. I leave my family because I love you.
Yeah, sure nobody followed you here, kid.
No one even saw me leave the farm.
Good. I can do without them rangers snooping on my tail. Waiter, 2 beers.
Si, senor.
Dandy, what you do to make those rangers come for you?
Do? What does anybody do to get the rangers after them? Those guys are always looking for trouble. Hey, what about them beers?
Si, mister, right away.
Dandy, you tell me the truth? For you, I leave my family, Dandy. I love you.
Yeah, I know, baby.
The beers, senor.
Ah, just in time. Boy, am I dry. Like I said, kid, Dandy Bird never makes trouble for nobody. I got plans for you.
Dandy, what's wrong?
That ranger coming in the door. He's heading this way.
Put away that gun, Dandy.
Come on, Cheetah, we're getting out of here. The bus.
There we are, Bird.
So you did leave the rangers here.
No, Dandy.
You stay where you are, Ranger. Don't go for your guns. I got the girl in front of me.
Dandy, let me go.
No, babe. You're staying close to me.
Dandy.
Get the girl out of the way, Bird. And keep away from that door.
Out of my life, Ranger. You try to gun me and you hit her first.
You treat me like this. You don't love me.
Hold still, you devil. Let me get this door open. Don't come any closer, Ranger.
He has a gun, Ranger.
Get away from him, Cheetah.
Dandy, let me go.
Stay here, you little... Cheetah!
Hold it, Dandy.
Oh, yeah? Don't shoot no more, Ranger. Don't shoot no more. I'm done.
You sure are. Too bad you didn't stick to the cotton business. Come on, Dandy. On your feet.
The cotton glove with the imperfect weave was found on Donald Byrd at the time of his capture. Confronted with this and the undeniable evidence establishing his gun as the murder weapon, Donald Dandy Byrd made a full confession. Cheetah Marcellus was given a suspended sentence of 5 years. Byrd was sent to the state penitentiary at Huntsville for the rest of his life.
And now, here again is the star of our show, Joel McCrea, with another interesting anecdote about the Texas Rangers.
In the early oil boom days of Texas, the Rangers were faced with a problem of rounding up lawbreakers and holding them in custody until they could get them to the nearest jail, which might be 50 miles away. Captain M.T. Lone Wolf Gonzalez, now commander of Company B, Texas Rangers, used a novel fresh-air jail that became known as the Ranger Trot Line. It was simply a long chain strung up between two posts with 50 or 60 trace chains attached. When an arrest was made, he padlocked the free end of the trace chain to his prisoner and left him there to face the jibes and laughter of the local citizens. Though it's no longer used today, the Ranger Trot Line started quite a few would-be bad men on the straight and narrow path. And to this day, there are some characters who still can't stand the sight of a trace chain. Good night, folks. See you same time next week.
Good night, Joel. Folks, there have been so many requests for the Texas Ranger prayer read by Joel McCrea a few weeks ago that there has been some delay in answering all of the mail. If your copy of the Texas Ranger prayer has not been received as yet, please be patient. You should receive your copy soon. Next week, Joel McCrea in another authentic reenactment of a case from the files of the Texas Rangers. Joel McCrea is currently seen starring in the Universal International Technicolor production Saddle Tramp. Tonight's cast included Tony Barrett, Nestor Paiva, Peggy Weber, Lou Krugman, Herb Butterfield, Byron Kane, Wilms Herbert, and Barney Phillips. This story was transcribed and adapted by Virginia M. Cook, and the program was produced and directed by Stacy Keach. This is Hal Gibney speaking.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. It's yo-ho for the open sea tomorrow as the Railroad Hour presents Gilbert and Sullivan's comic opera, The Pirates of Penzance, starring Gordon MacRae, Lucille Norman, and Clark Dennis. Gordon MacRae will star in the comedy character role of the Major General. This will be the third of Gilbert and Sullivan's musical whimsies offered on the Railroad Hour. For music in a more serious manner tomorrow, the NBC Symphony brings you another hour-long concert of some of the world's greatest music, under the baton of the brilliant young conductor, Guido Cantelli. Now, the $64 question. Three chimes mean good times on NBC.